guess. So there's going to be a lot to get to. I'm sure the fact the draft is in Vegas, I feel like will make it all the more interesting and insane at times. I can't wait. Look, we've been talking about mock drafts for 4 damn months. At least now, finally, we're to the actual draft.
We're going to be here all night until Matt Carroll is picked number 32 by the Detroit Lions, damn it. What do you think of that call, Schmitty? You're the man in the know.
Yeah, Matt Corral. Yeah, we'll see if he lasts that long. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions do trade up into the first round, or some team trades up with the Rams for that last pick in the first, and it is a quarterback. Get that all-important fifth-year option for the QB, but this should be interesting. Normally, we know, before St. Patrick's Day, maybe by Valentine's Day, who the number 1 pick is going to be. We might have a good idea. We might have a solid idea over the last day or two who it's going to be. Maybe it's Trayvon Walker over Aiden Hutchinson, but we'll know for sure in the next 15, 30 minutes or so. But this should be interesting. Only a few teams with multiple picks in the first this year after tons and tons of trades. The Bears, no first-round pick this year, but I'm fine with that because they used this year's first to get Justin Fields last year. Carmen and I have talked for the last few weeks, the last month or so on the Windy City podcast, how we are hopefully cautiously optimistic that Fields will get some nice ammunition, some wide receivers, some offensive line reinforcements to help his case here in year 2. But should be fun. The NFL Draft is one of my favorite sporting events of the year. On the entire sporting calendar. Should be a great night and really a great next few days.
Todd, because I love you, Todd, I'm going to let you know that I am starting out healthy tonight. This beverage right here is called the Kiwi Herman. I'm told to shake it well. It's got kiwi, it's got apple, it's got kale, it's got rosemary, it's got pineapple. And then I'm going to segue into the other regions of the world. What's that?
Does it have
no vodka? Nobody.
That's a train wreck of a choice.
I know it's terrible. It's awful. but
draft, man. You got plenty of other nights to be healthy.
Hey, listen.
I've been healthy all week for the fact that I'm going to be unhealthy tonight.
My whole point of this draft show is to see if I can get one of our esteemed leaders, Zach Best, to send me a Lou Malnati's pizza right here to Fansided Central, where I'm the only one that's actually in the office. So
that's your problem.
I think I should get a pizza over you guys sitting at home. First, I'm by myself. I'm lonely. Come on.
Well, that's your problem.
Still embracing the social distancing 2+ years later.
Yeah, you're all in on that, Carm. I thought about what I was going to have for dinner, and then I decided, you know what, I'm not going to eat during the show because that's just going to be a disaster. So I had my dinner earlier, which was healthy. Now I got my beer. I've also got shout out to Pinnins in Rockford, which is the best deli / small supermarket you'll ever see in your life. It's been in business since the 50s. They sell these Rice Krispie treats, half chocolate, and they're infused with peanut butter. Oh my God. I'm not even a big Rice Krispie treat guy. Those things are unbelievable. So I'm ready for that. That's my end of the show. You've earned this after 4.5 hours of talking draft. And then tomorrow, 8 a.m., I'm at the gym. Tonight, damn Rice Krispie treats going down.
The longest
take. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was just the longest take I ever got from Verderame was a 3-minute, maybe 10-minute diatribe on the value of the black and white cookie, which
New Yorker in them.
Yeah.
Good, great. Trader Joe's sells the mini ones.
Can't take the black and white cookie out of them.
Oh no way! They sell them at Trader Joe's. The minis, they're good. They're good. I gotta say, normally not good if it's not in a bakery. Those are actually pretty solid. And by the way, as we approach the top of the hour here, we've got 9 minutes to top the hour. If you haven't already subscribed, and I'm guessing a lot of you have since you're already here and you were here at the beginning, and we appreciate you so much. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to the Stack in the Box podcast here on YouTube. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're rolling right towards it. The Arrowhead Addict podcast. You're a Chief fan. Even if you're not, there's actually a lot of non-Chief fans who are there all the time. Bills fans, Broncos fans. And then the Windy City with these fine gentlemen with me. Bears, certainly, but also Bulls and Blackhawks and White Sox and Cubs. It covers everything. I'm sure Carm gets some Northwestern in there. So check it all out. It's all good stuff. If you like this, you'll love all those.
Speaking of Northwestern, he was calling Chris Collinsworth Chris Collins like 5 different times on a show a couple weeks ago, and I didn't want to call him out live on the show, so I guess I'm calling him out 2 weeks later on this special crossover episode. But we're all having fun, you know.
Did I call Chris Collinsworth Chris Collins?
Oh,
Like 5 times. Go
Five
back
times.
and watch it. It was funny. I didn't want to say anything because it was, you know, you were
I
on
gotta-
the roll, but yeah.
All right, I got to go back and listen. There's no way that I did that. But if I did,
God.
if I did do that, that is got to be clept up. That's terrible.
Great
I was
footage.
listening.
Yeah.
Collinsworth does a phenomenal job. Obviously, you know, we all see him on the big screen, but his podcast is great too. Not to promote anybody else's podcast. So that was one of the many that I listened to leading up into this. Schmitty, you're gonna have to go at some point here, and you're our college football expert. So,
Yes.
any tales of caution you want to give out there? Do not pick this guy. I'm wondering if you think that way about Charles Cross, perhaps, or what are you basically expecting to see tonight? Let's go down that road.
Well, the theme I think of tonight, it's going to be, we got some great edge rushers that are going to go early. Trayvon Walker didn't have the greatest production at Georgia. He was pretty much on an NFL defense. That defense was loaded. They won it all. So we're going to see a few Georgia players get picked tonight, and maybe around 10 or so over the next few days. But Trayvon Walker, outstanding physical tools. We'll see how great he could be if the Jaguars end up picking him. Aiden Hutchinson, I love him. We'll see where he goes. Maybe it's Detroit. Maybe he slips a little bit further than that. Was a Heisman finalist, Michigan single-season sack record. This dude's going to be a long time pro, very productive player. Kayvon Thibodeau seems to be sliding a little bit. Teams don't necessarily know if he's going to be a perfect fit in every scheme, but I think this guy's an outstanding pass rusher. Unique personality. It's not going to mesh well with every team, but I think this guy has got great physical skills. Was he former number 1 overall recruit when he came out before going to Oregon? So we got those great edge rushers. We got 3 great offensive tackles at the top of the draft we're going to see very early, and then a couple others that are going to go in the late teens and in the latter part of the first round. So the big guys, the tackles and the DNs / pass rushers, and then wide receivers. We might see 6, 7, maybe 8 squeeze their way into the first round,
Right.
and then tons more tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday.
Schmitty, I wanted to ask you, because nobody that I've ever met knows more about college football than you. George Pickens is a guy that has gotten a lot of buzz the last couple of weeks. I mean, really, it seemed like for most of this process, it was like maybe early round 2, maybe late round 1. Now all of a sudden, like, he's been talked about as much as anybody the last couple of weeks. The talent obviously is there. He missed a lot of last season with the ACL out of spring ball. Some people have concerns maybe about maturity. What is your opinion on George Pickens?
This is a guy that we've talked about on DeWindy City every Monday at 5 p.m. Central Time. He's a guy that we've coveted as a Bears target at pick number 39 in the second round. I don't think he's going to last that long. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe it's the Chiefs that take him at the end of the first round with one of their 2-1s. They're going to need to replace Tyreek Hill. George Pickens, if he didn't have that ACL tear last spring, he ended up missing the entire season, played sparingly at the end of the season in the SEC championship game in the college football playoff. This guy's got great physical skills, great size, probably would have been a top 10 to 15 receiver if not for that injury, and he played all year. And I think a lot of teams, they're not scared off by that injury. We see guys come back from ACLs all the time. So hypothetically, if it's the Chiefs that pick George Pickens, I think they're going to get a great player, totally different player than Tyreek Hill, obviously, but you get him into that offense, he'd be a stud. He's going to be great wherever he goes. Just got to shake off a little bit of that rust because, like I said, he hasn't played a whole lot of football over the last 2+ years when you get to this coming fall. But yeah, I think he's going to find himself in the latter round or latter parts of the first round. So he was a guy I would have loved to see in a Bears uniform. I just don't think it's going to happen. And one final bow on kind of the theme of the night: all these quarterbacks suck. I would not draft.
Oh my God!
You wouldn't draft one of them in the first round.
Thank you, Matt Corral. No, thank you. Desmond Ridder, maybe, but I'm not taking any of these guys. The Saints, they got 2 1s. Maybe you could get a little cute and use one of those on Kenny Pickett, but man, I don't think we're going to see any of them in the top 10. Malik Willis, way too risky. Kenny Pickett, no huge upside. Matt Corral was kind of a gimmicky, great offense at Ole Miss, great dude, but I just don't see huge upsides. Certainly nothing compared to last year's class where we had 5 guys go in the top 15. And the 5th guy that was picked, Mac Jones, had the best rookie year of them all.
If you had to pick one of those quarterbacks, if you had to pick one of them, who would you take?
All things considered, I'd probably go with Desmond Ridder because he's not going to go before Malik Willis. He's not going to go before Kenny Pickett.
Right.
I think he's a guy that, maybe he's the last pick of the first round or he's the first pick, so to speak, in the second round. So I think he's probably got a little bit more upside. Malik Willis, way too boomer bust for me. Kenny Pickett, so little upside, maybe safer than Malik Willis. Matt Corral, he could do some things. He could move around a little bit. But I worry about him translating to an NFL kind of scheme and offense. And if he's physically capable, like big enough, strong enough to play the position. But Desmond Ridder, he's a guy completely overachieved, did some great things for Cincinnati, getting them to the college football playoff. And we're going to see Sauce Gardner, one of his college teammates, go in the top 5-7 picks or so, a quarterback. So they're a great program. He's well coached under Luke Fickell. So I'd probably go with Desmond Ridder.
Okay.
I am on record with my DeWindy City partner, live at 5 every Mondays, and all the other shows coming too. If I was the Detroit Lions, I would roll the dice early and often at number 2. Who am I looking at? And I would take Malik. I would take that's to me is it is boom or bust, but
At
you
2?
have yes at number 2. That's who.
And I like Malik Willis a lot more than Pitt, but oh my God, no way.
Yeah, I mean, if Aiden Hutchinson is there at 2, I think Detroit has to take the Michigan guy.
Take him.
No
Why?
brainer. Why? Because a pass rusher is, if quarterback is obviously the most important position, but you don't want to take a quarterback just to take a quarterback. He wouldn't be any better than Jared Goff. There's no long-term gains there. 2 is just way, 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 way too rich for me. And after Detroit passed on those quarterbacks last year to come back and take Malik Willis, guys are getting fired if that happens. I mean, take Aiden Hutchinson, load up on defense, get some big, thick boys in there. If you're going to suck again next year and you're Detroit, so newsflash, spoiler alert, you heard it here first, Detroit is going to suck again in 2022. They're going to be picking early in 2023. Maybe you get a shot at Bryce Young, the Heisman winner from Alabama last year, or some of these other quarterbacks, CJ Stroud from Ohio State. Both of those 2 guys are going to be top 3, top 5 picks next year. One of them is going to be the number 1 pick. Do not take Malik Willis if you're Detroit.
I like Malik Willis. Like I like Malik Willis. In terms of, I think he's raw as hell, but I think he's talented. Like if I had to pick a quarterback, he's who I'd pick. Because Pickett's like 35 years old and had 1 good year at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell. Like the idea, I've seen a lot of people like in the know, and you even hear it kind of when they talk about Carolina maybe at 6. If Carolina takes Kenny Pickett at 6, just fire everybody now and just move on with it. But like if you're the Lions and you really wanted Willis, if you're that crazy about him, then package the 32 and I think they have 34 and get back up into the first. But you take at 2, if Aiden Hutchinson's there, you take him, and that's it. Like you didn't think twice about it. If they don't take him, I think they're nuts if he's at 2.
So
I love what Todd Rogers said in the chat. He said these quarterbacks would cost people jobs if drafted high, and yeah, that's what we're saying. So yeah.
You know what's interesting to me? Hey, Verderam, why are you having the greatest time of your football life right now?
Because I'm getting paid and I'm sitting here watching football and having a beer with you fine gentlemen.
Why else?
Because the league makes a lot of money and I can cover it.
No. Listen. You.
Okay.
All right.
You traded up for Mitchell Trubisky and
right.
The next 15 years of pure happiness.
But Mahomes is raw, but Mahomes is a lot more of a higher thought of prospect than Willis.
Yeah, but he went to Texas Tech. How many great quarterbacks come out of Texas Tech? Come on.
Which is the interesting thing about that, right? Like, look, we don't have to go down that rabbit hole, but if Mahomes went to USC, is he even at 10 at that point, right? Like, I think so much of it is like, well, he went to – now, his footwork was atrocious coming out of college.
It's the same thing. You went to Liberty.
He started at Auburn, or he began his career at Auburn, I should say. He didn't start at Auburn.
Right, but listen, this is not a known guy. This is, you said it, Schmitty. This is boom. You pick guys who can boom. Aiden Hutchinson, by all accounts, going to be a really nice player, but he's not going to be. They're not projecting him as Hall of Fame type. They're projecting him as a really good, solid dude who's going to get you 10 sacks a year. That's what they're projecting.
Lions could use a lot of those guys.
You need those guys. Like,
I'm not saying you don't. I'm not saying you don't. I know you need them. I get it. But like, the Chiefs were the Chiefs that were running Matt Castle and whoever else you want to name out there as quarterbacks forever, and they never did anything. Then they got Patrick Mahomes, and the whole damn state of the franchise changed. Sometimes you got to take big swings, man.
Yeah, but the big problem with that is Malik Willis is not Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Patrick Mahomes was throwing 700 yards and 7 touchdowns at Texas Tech against Oklahoma and Texas, and he had years of production. Malik Willis has some physical things that you like about him, obviously, which is why he's being talked about as a first-round prospect and why he will be a first-round pick tonight. But, man, if the worst-case scenario is Aiden Hutchinson, is Ryan Kerrigan, or, a guy that gets you 10 sacks, gets you 100 sacks over the next decade, like, okay, you win with those guys. You need those guys behind quarterback. Like, I'm not – if you really love Malik Willis and you're Detroit, trade down 10 picks, get some extra 2s and 3s and whatever, and help Malik Willis win and get other guys around him. But taking Malik Willis at 2, that's such a gross miscalculation of draft capital and currency. That's like trading up from 3 to 2 to draft Mitchell Trubisky. It's like taking a quarterback just to take a quarterback isn't the move. Plus, if the quarterback you're taking isn't
they need a quarterback.
They do, but look, I'm with Schmidt on this for one reason, and a lot of reasons, but one reason specifically. Look, if you take Hutchinson and you keep building the team, you're going to be bad next year. No one's arguing that. Schmidt laid that out very eloquently earlier.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. But the reality is, as Schmidt also said, next year's class has elite quarterbacks in it. And you can then build the team up. The one point about Mahomes that got lost in all that is it had Alex Smith after Matt Castle. The Chiefs drafted a lot of Hutchinson types for years. And they got to the point that then when Mahomes got there, they became unbelievable. If Mahomes walks into that thing in 2012, they're a shit show. Like, they're terrible. So I think, it was a different thing. Like, I hear you. And look, man, no one's arguing they need a quarterback. But to me, at 2, Hutchinson. Now, if they want to package a couple of picks and get back into the first, or further up into the first, I should say, and take Willis at 20, okay, I'll hear that. But not at 2.
No, listen, I get it.
Are you the agent for Malik Willis?
No, listen, I'm here to just little stir the pot, but I also think it doesn't make any sense to me. If I'm Carolina at 6, I'm taking a quarterback. You need a quarterback. What are you going to do?
They're going to take one because they know if they don't win this year, they're screwed. Like guys are getting fired.
Yeah. Schmitty, you're going to come on back here. We're going to bring in our Jaguars expert. So we'll be seeing you later in the night. Great start with us, brother. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I'll be back around to, in the teens portion of the draft, and we'll see if Malik Willis has been picked yet or not. And if he has, we'll have a lot to talk about. But yeah, thanks, fellas. And what's up, everybody in the chat? I'll be back later on, and enjoy the draft night.
Yeah, absolutely. Schmitty, we'll see you in a little bit. And I'm loving everybody in the chat right now. Thank you for all the listen, roll dice, swing big, hit homers. Let's go. You're the damn Detroit Lions. What do you have to lose? Let's bring in, speaking of nothing to lose, let's get to Jordan Del Lugo in here, the Generation Jaguar podcast. Verem, you ever talk to Jordan? This man knows his stuff right here.
I have not, but it's a pleasure to, Jordan. Thanks for joining us.
Why are we talking about number 2 pick right now?
I know.
Jaguars are on the clock, right?
Well, you tell us what's going to happen here, Jordan. What do we got?
You tell me. No one knows at this point. Obviously, everyone's leaning towards Trayvon Walker. I still would not be surprised to see Aiden Hutchinson, who was a favorite for a long time, or Ikem Ekwonu sneak in there. I know those are the top 3 that everyone's connected the Jaguars to. Again, no one knows at this point outside of Doug Peterson, Trent Baalke, maybe a couple other guys. They're getting ready to have their post number 1 overall pick press conference. They're getting set up in there. Who knows what it's going to be? I would lean towards Walker or Hutchinson, certainly, because you look at the investments over the last couple years on the offensive line with Cam Robinson, Walker Little in the second round, Brandon Scherf this year in free agency. It's looking like a defensive end.
Hey, Verderam or Jordan, does anybody buy that Trent Baalke will not pick Aiden Hutchinson because he hates Jim Harbaugh?
No.
Because that's out there.
No, I think that's insane. You're not going to shortchange your own franchise for that. By the way, Goodell's speaking right now on TV. He's up on stage. He's got Derek Carr, Darren Waller, and Marcus Allen with him. Derek Carr looks like an extra from Miami Vice. The suit he's wearing. No, listen. I think for Jacksonville, after they extend Cam Robinson, they take him off the tag and pay him yesterday. I think that's a clear indication they're going to go defensively. It seems like it's going to be Trayvon Walker. I mean, it seems like that's been the push the last week here. I like Hutchinson myself, but that being said, there's a clear upside as well with Walker. That Georgia defense was insane. He was right in the middle of it. Which way, Jordan, if you had your way, if you're the GM, who are you picking number 1?
I would still be taking Evan Neal just because he's the number 1 player on my board. I don't think you can do enough to protect Trevor Lawrence.
Thank you. That guy's that's my number 1, will not be a bust. That dude is an insane stud, but keep going.
Yeah. And you look at him, I think you can plug him in at right tackle if you want to.
Play it all over.
If you want to play Jawan Taylor or Walker Little at right tackle, you plug him in at left guard where he started his college career. That's your biggest hole right now on the offensive line. And you just protect Trevor Lawrence. You give him his best chance to succeed in year 2. You didn't do a good enough job giving him a quality infrastructure in year 1, from coaching to the talent around him to the talent on the defensive side of the ball. I know you need to address that as well, but getting him an offensive line that will not only create holes in the running game and allow you to be productive on early downs and that type of setting, but also protecting him on third down. It's huge. They did not do a good enough job doing it last year. You cannot invest enough resources into that offensive line. When you look at Doug Peterson's history, 2017, best year as a head coach, Eagles had a hell of an offensive line, incredibly deep and talented.
I just don't get the dude. I'm not saying that he's not going to be a good player, but it's the number 1 overall pick in the draft. You're picking a guy, if they do go with Walker, that's a 1-year starter. That's you're really trusting your ability to evaluate talent over actual production, to me, to an uncomfortable level. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but that's like, I couldn't do that if I was in their spot.
By the way, on a complete side note, as the draft has become more and more of an entertainment value than anything else, we've got Ice Cube up there with all these Raiders. Well, I don't know if you call Carr great, but very good, and then a couple other great players. It's kind of funny because there's a hyping the crap out of the Raiders. The Raiders don't have a pick until the 3rd round. Like, I get there in Vegas, I understand that, but like, there's like a lot of Raiders fans there. It's like, like you're down the street, although you've only been to Vegas 2 years. There's also literally you're not picking until the 3rd. Now they're showing Jacksonville's draft room as we're getting ready. We are getting closer here. The Jags are on the clock. So
officially,
here we go. Here we go.
They've only been on the clock for the last 5 months almost.
Yeah. Now the clock
4 full
is
months,
started.
I should say.
Clock is started.
Yeah.
So
them talking about not knowing who they're going to pick last Friday, I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah, that would be insane. They better know who they're going to pick.
Well, the betting market has moved, fast and furious. It's Walker. So if you had to bet your life right now, Jordan, no question, you're predicting that, correct?
If I had to bet my life,
yes, that's what we do.
We don't end up in that situation.
That's what we're doing on this show. We're betting lives tonight. Damn it.
Yeah.
So I'm still rolling with Aiden Hutchinson. I'm okay if I'm wrong with that, right? My life is only worth so much. Just ask my wife. But look, I just don't know how you can come to the rationalization, regardless of scheme, regardless of what you want to run, how you can use Trayvon Walker's versatility. I don't know how you can get to the point where you actually think he is a better NFL prospect than Aiden Hutchinson.
I'm with you.
You can
point to Alden Smith in the past, DeForest Buckner, Those guys dominated in college. They had pass rush moves. They knew how to use their hands. Yeah, they all have length, and athleticism.
Well, and honestly, Hutchinson had as good of numbers as Walker did. I mean, from an athletic standpoint, it's not like Walker is some incredible athlete in comparison. By the way, just a quick PSA for everybody listening, and thank you so much for being here and watching the show. We love you. We appreciate it. Unless there's a big reaction in the chat to this, I plan once we know the picks to just roll with it. Which hopefully doesn't spoil this for anybody. But it'll be, I'm sure, out there on Twitter. Maybe we'll even break a pick or two. I'm hoping. But we're gonna roll with it. So if it gets reported on Twitter and they haven't announced yet on TV, I apologize. If that really bothers a whole bunch of people, then please let me know and we can just wait. But I think we're all on the internet at this point in time, so it's probably the way to go.
If you're here, you're gonna, right?
You want to know when we know. We're not going to delay. Right. We're all in tonight, baby. Hey, Verter. Yeah, go ahead.
You mentioned the same athletic testing. I mean, same exact 10-yard split, same exact vert. Aiden Hutchinson is a quicker and more agile player. When you look at Travon Walker, where he separates himself from Aiden Hutchinson from an athletic standpoint, it's the downfield speed, really, and the length. Obviously, he's much longer than Aiden Hutchinson, and people love that. And I get that. It gives you an advantage. But when you don't know how to stack pass rush moves, counters, bend around the edge, you've got a long way to go from where Travon Walker is to where you want him to be to live up to the number one pick.
Listen, Aiden Hutchinson, in addition to everything you named, one of the things that I enjoyed researching him, the dude's he's like Tom Brady defensive lineman type. He's drinking distilled water. He's a gallon a day. He's cut out sugar. He doesn't do gluten. He doesn't drink alcohol. He's the workout warrior. I mean, the man, he's the perfect person. So that would excite me, I guess, if I'm a Jaguar, I suppose. Although I keep on, everyone upside, and people just think he's going to be a really solid NFL player and not.
Well, why does he not have upside?
It depends on how you define upside. A really solid NFL player who gets you 10 sacks a year, that's a pretty good upside. But they don't look at him like a Hall of Famer. Why does he not? That's a fair question. I don't have a great answer to it. I think they look at him athletically as inferior to others. You just laid out everything why he's not, but that's the argument.
I mean, athletically, if you look at RAS, relative athletic score by Kent Lee Platt, which is well documented, very accurate. He's a top 20 defensive end of all time, athletically. Defensive end prospect.
He could be getting pigeonholed here. Listen. A lot of people might look at him and be like, that guy doesn't look like the best athlete in the draft. That's entirely possible. Let's be real about the way we judge people. That's entirely possible. That's going on with him. Verem, you sat down with him.
I spent 2 days with him out in Thousand Oaks, behind the scenes. He was amazing. I not only athletically, which I got to watch firsthand from 2 feet away, but I mean, just as a person, I thought he was top notch. Got to hang out and talk to his father quite a bit. Chris Hutchinson was a great player. Also,
the pick is in.
Really good dude. Yep, pick is in. So we're sitting here waiting on the news on who will Jacksonville take.
Albert Breer says Travon Walker, edge
go.
rusher, University of Georgia.
There it is.
There it is. So Travon Walker to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And now the question is, we're not going to move away from Jacksonville just yet, but Detroit. Now coming onto the clock, Chris Hutchinson, it's his father, Aiden Hutchinson. Will he go to the hometown team? Will he go there? We're about to find out. But Travon Walker, the newest member of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Let's quick trivia. Number one players out of the University of Georgia. Who do you got?
Well, I mean, Fran Tarkenton's right up there. And Terrell Davis is a pretty
but who drafted number one overall? There's 4.
Number one overall.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the University of Georgia?
Mm-hmm.
Stafford.
2009, bang. You got to go back to only you would know this, Verderame. 53. I'll give you the years: 53, 45, and 43.
Oh man, no, I wouldn't even know that, man.
49ers, Cardinals, and Lions.
Yeah, no, no. Even like, I love history, but that's a bridge too far even for yours truly.
Harry Babcock in 53 to the Niners.
Not good.
Charlie Trippi, 45 to the Cardinals.
All-time Hall of Famer. Yep.
There you go. And Frank Sinkwich, 40
for
40.
Okay, so 1 out of 3, and then Stafford was good, so 2 out of 4. So Walker's going to be the tiebreaker.
There we go. Hey Jordan, give us your upset right now. That this is what your Jaguars have done before you go.
Yeah, so I've talked about it quite a bit. I don't think this was the best pick the Jaguars could have made, but when you look at this draft class, there are so many, potential outcomes with all of these prospects. I think Aiden Hutchinson and Evan Neal were the safest picks that they could have made. I think they also had upside, but obviously the Jaguars went with the length, the versatility. Trayvon Walker can line up base 3-4. He can set the edge for you. An elite run defender right now. He can, eat up blocks. He can knife in on stunts. He can drop and be a disruptor in shallow zones. He's going to be a chess piece for the Jaguars front seven, I would have to imagine. And while they're using him as that chess piece, they're going to try to develop the pass rush arsenal that certainly is not there at this point.
Yeah. Ian Rappaport, by the way, the Jaguars take Georgia edge Trayvon Walker at number 1 overall. A consensus in the building and an easy call for them. It's an interesting wording there. Maybe nobody wants to take on Trent Baalke in the building over there. There's no consensus here, man. Jordan's saying, look at that. Are Jaguars fans happy or not happy right now?
Jags fans are so jaded when it comes to the draft and missing on so many picks. I think most people did not want Trayvon Walker. Most people wanted Aiden Hutchinson or someone else, but you cannot deny Trayvon Walker's physical profile, his athletic profile. And the one thing you can say about him, he's going to come in and make an immediate impact. It might not be as a pass rusher, but in terms of helping his teammates out, he's never in the wrong place at the wrong time. He is consistently doing the right thing. It's just when it comes to third down, pin your ears back, go get a sack. Is Trayvon Walker your guy? Not yet.
Before you go, Jordan, Cover Girl 678 is writing that the Jags loved Bortles too.
It sure did.
That is rude. That is rude, Cover Girl. But a true statement. Hey Jordan, it's gonna be all right, man. He's got huge upside, and don't even think about the fact that he was just fully in the potential category for his first 2 seasons before busting on the scene last year. I don't know. But hey, it's done. You're moving forward. Good luck to your Jaguars. Thanks for being on, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me on. We'll talk in a couple years when Trayvon Walker's making Pro Bowls, right?
There we go. See you soon, Jordan. We'll see you before that.
Y'all have a good one.
All right. Jordan DeLugo with us to start the show. I think I've lost Verderame. I think I have Adam Weinrib from the Yanks Go Yard podcast who's ready. There he is. The Detroit Lions on the clock, Adam. Trayvon Walker gone. There's my Lions hat. I'm very proud of this. One pride. There we go. Thoughts? Aiden Hutchinson? Is that what they should do?
Yeah, I mean, what else? I heard you guys going off about like grab a QB if you can here.
Yeah.
Maybe a different year's class of QBs. Like grab one of next year's QBs. Can you do that? I don't know. I'm not a draft Nick per se. I don't know if you could just take next year's guys. I mean, Hutchinson, how often do you get the chance to take a hometown boy in this 2 spot?
All true.
Right?
All true. There's romance here, but that's really not a good reason to pick someone. Oh, sweet. He went to Divine Child High School and he didn't start for his CYO team and he didn't play varsity as a freshman. And he rose up right here, started one way as a sophomore. He was an offensive lineman. He never once complained. It's a tweet that I'm working up. He worked his ass off in the weight room. He was a great teammate and captain. I'm not trying to talk down Aiden Hutchinson, but like it's
he goes.
Yeah, done and done.
Done and done.
Okay, that's not a surprise. The Lions going right down the middle here, hitting the nice, call it 280-yard drive, and they're going to play it safe. And there you go. All right, you're Detroit. I get it. There's no reason to go crazy here. The Fighting Campbells add Aiden Hutchinson. Okay. All right. No, that feels not surprising at all. And I guess sometimes you don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. Just do what's the right thing to do. And that's what they did.
Did you see he had every affirmation he said to himself over the past 2 years stitched into the lining of his jacket?
That's amazing.
Which is a description of an item of clothing you usually find at a double homicide.
If you don't know Adam, he's a funny man, and you should be checking out the Sports Fire pod. You should be checking out the Yanks Go Yard pod. Anything else you want to promote?
No, I think everybody should listen to both of those podcasts, and you'll find me on either of those. And if you love The Sopranos, come see my Sopranos sketch show in New York City. That's another plug for you.
Well, by the way, Ian Rappaport reporting that there was a big-time scare before the draft that Georgia's Trayvon Walker was in a serious car accident in Athens, Georgia before the draft. He crashed into 2 parked cars. This is per Tom Pelissero. He emerged without injury somehow. No citations, but a scare for sure. That's terrifying, but okay. I mean, he just went number 1 overall. So, I guess the Jaguars didn't care. How does that happen? You're literally I don't know. I would have myself in bubble wrap if I'm about to be the number 1 pick in the draft, not crashing into parked cars. That's just me.
No, that's certainly not the bulletin you expect to see at this point in time. I'm going to be honest. I thought I was being brought on for comedic relief. I didn't anticipate being 2 picks deep and having a car accident, one of the first 2 picks. But that is terrifying. I mean, you like the ending to that story, though. You like that he surprisingly escaped without damage done, and now we move on. But that is a reminder these are real people when you're just throwing them around like chess pieces. And you're saying, I don't like this fit. Maybe get a QB or whatever. You remember that they're guys with lives and crises.
Yeah, and just for the record, I don't exactly know what happened to Verderame. I'm assuming he's going to return to the show at some point here, but I'm a little bit worried about my guy. Like, did the service go out in Rockford? Are we out for lunch here for a while?
I heard.
I don't know.
Did he do a Trader Joe's run? I heard he was talking about the little mini black and whites. Did he maybe run out of those?
That could have been the move here. All right. Well, hey. Detroit goes down the middle, and I wouldn't say that Jacksonville did. Here come the Houston Texans. Thoughts on Houston? What do you think?
Houston's the wild card, right? I feel like a lot of people have them doing the icky shuffle with everybody's favorite athletic freak OL, at NC State. Couldn't they go? They could go crazy though, right? Couldn't they just go Sauce Gardner and wreck the Jets and Giants draft plans and throw off this whole pile? I mean, there are needs everywhere here, so. The pick is in already. People are motoring. Why did Jacksonville take the longest?
I think that was probably asked by the NFL. Just take a while. We're creating content here. We want drama. Just take your time. But okay.
Yeah, let Ice Cube blow out another microphone. We're gonna wheel in more mics for Ice Cube to rip apart.
Yes.
Is that young Zach Wilson on the screen? What am I looking at?
Let's see here. I'm looking for. To me, it feels like an Ike Ekwonu, but we shall see in a matter of moments here what the Texans do. Lots of interest. I like the stories behind the draft, and Ike's an interesting guy, man. He turned down 2 Ivy League schools. I mean, how often do you have that in your top 3 in the NFL draft? Yeah, no. I'm not going Ivy League. I'm gonna, try to get myself to the league here because that's what I want to do. And I'm seeing. Do we have the pick? Because I'm seeing reaction here in the chat. Go ahead. Yeah, what do you got, Adam?
No, I believe we have the pick. It hasn't aired yet, though. Should I be Schefter-ing this? Should I blow it? Yeah,
you could Schefter.
It's Derek Stingley Jr., the cornerback from Louisiana State University.
That's a surprise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, he was flat out not good last year and the year prior. Right? Like, this is a guy who hasn't been good in 2 years. I saw somebody tweet today that like you got to take a chance on that guy. He looked like a Hall of Famer in college 2 years ago, and it's like, I mean, it's several years ago, right?
Let's be honest. That's a terrible move. I really. I love Kayvon Thibodeau, for the record. I think that guy is going to be an absolute just freak of nature stud. If you're going to roll the dice like this, I would have gone that way, which would have been a little bit off the board. Derek Stingley, wow, that is, completely. I guess it was moving around that somehow that Stingley would go in the top 5, and here he goes to the Texans at 3. I don't know. They've got 2 first-rounders, needs up and down the roster. And I guess if you think you're getting 2019 Stingley, right, then maybe it makes a whole lot of sense. Verderame is back here right in time to
bad night for your internet to go out.
Yeah, well, what the hell, Derek
Take a
Stingley,
sip,
man?
yeah.
Number 3 overall here. That's
being talked about. That's been the hot news for the last 2-3 days that they love him there. So I'm not surprised at all. I'm really not. That's been that he's kind of been the favorite for them the last couple of days.
It still feels like that was just positioning or posturing or whatever. I don't know. Do you like the pick outside of the fact that you're not surprised?
I think it's high. I think he's a good player. I think it's high. He's got a Liz Frank corner.
He's got a Liz Frank injury. He's been hospitalized, by the way, with non-COVID illness. He missed a couple games. Not that really matters, but you can make a pretty big case that the Texans are doing something that completely is way out over their shoes. Skis. Thank you.
Skis.
Either
skis.
One. By the way,
skis, right? Skis, definitely skis.
Skis.
Thank you.
By the way, one of the things to watch now with the Jets on the board. Don't be surprised if it's another corner. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I also feel like that's what we're trending towards.
That's been kind of the word quietly. It's going to be Gardner here, but we'll see.
Sauce boss.
Well, you're our New York guy here. Jets and Giants 4-5 here. Thoughts, Adam? Is New York about to have the greatest moments of their lives here?
No. I think we're going to get the rare back-to-back New York picks with 2 rhyming guys' names, with Sauce and Cross going 4-5. Has that ever happened before?
I don't get Cross above Neal. Makes no sense to me. Can somebody explain that? Are we really what no. Don't we like about Evan Neal? I don't get it.
What were there all those anonymous leaks today about how he was a serious injury risk, though, right? Like the last minute floats of I don't know. And then all his people said, he wasn't asked to do any injury tests at the combine, and we have no idea where this smoke is coming from. Who leaked that?
All I know is the dude is jumping 40 inches in the air and landing on 2 boxes and doing the splits. He doesn't look like a guy that's got injury issues. He looks pretty damn physically. He went from 390 as a freshman down to 330, just getting like that. That doesn't happen. You lost weight and got stronger, and you are an athletic freak that you don't even look like you're overweight at all. He's a straight mauler. I love the guy. But I don't know. Verderame, what do you got here for New York?
The word quietly has been that they love Sauce Gardner. And now they have picks 4 and 10. I got to think with Stingley gone, it only increases the idea that, hey, we should probably take Sauce Gardner now. But there's also the idea, hey, Mekhi Becton, is he long for New York? A lot of people don't think he is. If that's the case, Evan Neal, Ike Ekwonu. By the way, I think the Giants, that's got to be the play one way or the other. A tackle. Either those guys or Cross. If you're the Giants, it has to be a tackle. I don't care. You can't walk away without taking one of those guys with the way that line's been. Can't do it. So we shall see how it goes. But the Giants, that offensive line's been a mess. And Mara has openly talked about the fact that, look, we got to fix this offensive line. We got to help out Daniel Jones. I would expect that they will. I do think this is going to be Sauce Gardner for the Jets. But of course, look, you never know. You never know in these things. All of a sudden somebody gets the ear of the right person in a room and things change. But we will find out very shortly.
Sauce Gardner is a sweet story. Didn't Didn't come from a lot. His mom was working 17 jobs to make it work. He's telling her to quit now and, hey, I got you, all that. And he certainly is not lacking any confidence in himself. The dude names him Sauce. And by the way, it's out there that the Jets, although I don't know if I trust this particular
It's
person.
Sauce Gardner.
Okay, there
Yeah.
it is. There we go.
Sauce Gardner. Not surprising. There's a lot of talk about that the last few days. That's their guy. They have a defensive-minded head coach, and now they add to a secondary that has some interesting players in it. And Gardner is really going to be the guy that's the headliner. So the Jets get their corner, and of course they only wait 6 more picks until they pick again. So we've got just a little bit of time here before the Jets get rolling once more.
Quote, I feel like I'm the chosen one. I feel like I'm the best in the draft. There's no doubt about it. There's no way I can be a bust. That shouldn't even be an option. By the way, do you guys know what Sauce's first name actually is? That's on the screen, so you definitely do. His real name is Ahmad, for the record. Not that matters, but I just, so we can learn everything. As I was saying, I love the mom, Elisa. She raised Gardner and his 2 siblings, working multiple jobs, auto plant assembly lines. I mean, come on, man. That is a hard way to put food on the table. So let's shout out to Elisa getting Sauce to this point, and good luck with the Jets, Jets. Do you have a quarterback there, Adam? I'm trying to figure that out.
Do the Jets have a quarterback? They got Zach Wilson. I mean, don't we believe in year 2, Zach? I mean, based on the Jet fan highlights I saw circulating in the third quarters of meaningless games in mid-November, he was zipping some throws in battles he ultimately lost. He had a huge game against the Bucs in a game they lost. So that was
okay. If you believe you've watched him more than I have, so I'm willing to hear that there are nuggets of Zach Wilson that, hey, the Jets got this right. Hey, Adam, anything else before we go? We got one of our your teammates jumping on here in a second.
Yeah, I will cede the floor. I appreciate you guys having me on. I realize every night when the draft starts that I actually like it. It's like you hate all the mocks, you hate the 2 months prior, and now I'm like, oh, this is actually fun. If you guys like the Yankees, listen to the Yanks Go Yard podcast. If you like comedy and sports, I recommend Sportfire, and I would recommend it even if I didn't host it. And now to the New York Giants and them choosing the wrong offensive tackle out of the 3 options on the table.
There we go. Adam, good to see you, brother.
Good to see you.
Reed Wallach of the Daily Bet Slip is up next as we.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Let's make some money here, Reed. Can we get a pick? Can we get a little dollars down here on the Giants pick before it's too late?
I think it's a little tough, Carm. You guys should have asked me before the draft came out. I could have gave some late thoughts. We had a good start though. Stingley going 3, that was a big win. Tibbs not going 2, that was a big win. And now the New York Football Giants sitting here get the pick of the litter, it seems like, for their offensive linemen. So we'll see, obviously new GM, we'll see if they could, hit on one of these O-linemen.
Verderam, who you taking here?
Aquano. I would take Icky.
That's what I think.
That kid. Now listen, I'm biased on this in the sense I spent 2 days with him out in Thousand Oaks. That kid, you watch that guy work out, it is unbelievable in person. Like the athleticism, the size, the strength. Then on top of that, like a brilliant kid. Like got accepted to Harvard Business School. Brilliant. I mean, that he checks every box. Great background, great kid, great play. To me, I don't know. Look, I'm not saying Neal and Cross won't be very good players. They may be, but Aquanu to me is the biggest can't miss. Like that kid is going to be a really good player.
I thought he should have went 1. If I were the Jags, I would have taken him number 1.
Wouldn't have hated it. So far, no offensive players. It feels like that is definitely going to change here, barring a shocking pick or a trade.
For the record, Mel Kiper had him at 1. I mean, there's a guy who spent a little bit of time around football. He was a state wrestling champ in high school. He also, by the way, was the anchor on the 4x100. Offensive lineman who's your anchor on the track team. That's insane. I was listening to him talk about himself, by the way, he's like, I got to improve a little bit on my pass protection. I could be a little bit better at that, which I'm like, it's pretty looking in the mirror and trying to see where you can be best. What do you got, Reed?
No, I just think this draft is teed up for the Giants and Jets to both, like when we're talking tomorrow morning, like your draft grades, who's a winner of this draft, it's going to be tough for both of these teams to mess up. I feel like it's really teed up for them. Obviously, the Giants missing out on one of these two corners, that kind of stings, no pun intended. But for the Giants, you're going to get your pick of the litter offensive lineman. Even if you go Evan Neal, I don't mind that. I know they've been tied to Charles Cross this entire pre-draft process, but then you look at 7, either trade down, accumulate more assets, or go get Kayvon Thibodeau, who some people say is the top prospect of the draft, or Jermaine Johnson that people like. So I feel like the Giants, this is teed up for them. This is a easy breezy. You can't mess this up. That's at least how I see it. There's no real like crazy outcome here as we wait for the pick to come in.
Yeah, listen, it would be unless they go cross here, that to me could be a huge mistake. But if you Ekwonu, you're fine.
One for sure.
Neal, you're fine. And by the way, you're also the Giants. You're another team that needs to find their quarterback because
not right now. Not like in this
not
tonight.
This moment.
Tonight will not be. There will not be the next savior of the New York Giants tonight. I hope at least. I think all these quarterbacks are pretty poor, to be honest. I'm not impressed. I'm more of a college football guy anyway, and I'm not super impressed with any of them.
Who's your number one quarterback?
Like Corral or Carson Strong. Like I don't really like any of these guys. I think I wouldn't go near them in the first round.
What don't you like about Malik?
I don't know, like what just because he's a dynamic playmaker, but he's playing at Liberty. Are the skills really going to translate? I know he's playing behind a depleted offensive line, but he went up against Ole Miss and couldn't do anything but run around the backfield. So I understand the talent's there, but you also need to be able to put it all together. So I haven't seen that as much. So I'll, even Pickett, I think he played in like a West Coast kind of style offense. So
they're making it. It's a stunner. The New York Giants, the football Giants, are taking Oregon defensive end Kayvon Thibodeau. Wow.
Okay. 5 defensive players in a row. I got to admit, look, I've been on record the last couple months. I think Thibodeau is fantastic.
So do I.
There's a lot of this weird stuff about like, oh, well, is he too interested in his NIL deals? I mean, guys have been taking money in college for 50 years. Well, he can't do it legally now? Is something wrong with that?
Yeah, now that it's public knowledge, they're bad guys.
Now it's a problem that he's getting paid? I mean, Eric Dickerson was getting Trans Ams at SMU in the 80s. So I got no problem with that. Listen, if you're the Giants, here's the side of this. You got another pick coming.
Yep.
They might have felt like, hey, Thibodeau may not be there. We got, we know one of those tackles is going to be there.
Right.
So if you got the board pretty close there, it's a smart move. I think Thibodeau is a hell of a player. He's an edge rusher that the Giants need. So I don't hate it by any means. I'm surprised. I thought they'd go tackle right away, but it also makes sense considering they got a pick coming here, in 10 minutes.
I think Verderame, I think that's our first, if I may, stellar star Jordan-esque, however you want to put it, point of the night. They look, hey man, look, there's 3 of them. We think they're all good. Maybe we got them graded boom, boom, boom. So we're good with any of it. This dude, if we miss on him, we're not going to sleep tonight. So let's get him right now. I mean, that seems the most logical thing that happened, right?
Yeah, I think the board broke nicely for them. This was, in my opinion, it works. Wait for the offensive lineman to fall to you. Why do you have to force it if you kind of like these guys all, interchangeably? Why not wait? Or you could wait and maybe, one of these teams wants to trade up for a wide receiver. Maybe you could trade down again. I
mean, what's a little bit weird about it, I mean, I don't know. I guess they feel like if they take their offense, I mean, what do they think that Carolina might take Thibodeau? All right. Okay.
Also, Carolina was a popular trade spot. Maybe someone sees Thibodeau falling and they try to move up for him. This was, to me, 6, 7, and 9. Those were the 3 spots that were someone wants to move up for, like a Jameson Williams type. That's kind of like that's the target spot. But with a guy like Thibodeau falling, I just feel like you don't see teams moving up for offensive linemen. I obviously could be wrong. This is a little, I wouldn't say unprecedented, but a little bit rare. You're seeing 5 defensive players going early. So maybe the Giants are cool saying, okay, if they really like Evan Neal, we're cool taking Ekwonu at 7, which would be a steal. If the Giants come away either trading back or offensive lineman, this is again, like I said, this draft was teed up for them.
Mike Cole's comment seemed like defense was a strength for the Giants.
As you could hear the Giants draft party behind me excited about the Thibodeau pick coming in.
There you go. Hey, Mike, I think they're looking at it. Best player available. Which is the number one draft philosophy, at least in my mind, that you should always have in life. Who is the best player? Don't worry about positions. If you draft for positions, ultimately you're gonna get screwed. You're gonna miss on elite talent. So they clearly looked at Kayvon as elite talent here. And Verham, I'm with you. I think the guy's phenomenal. I mean, I don't know. Reed, have you watched this tape? I'm sure you have, or watched him a bunch of Oregon football.
This was before the pre-draft process started. This guy was in the conversation for number one.
Yep.
You know, I think that these pre-draft evaluations go a little crazy, and you see people falling in. Thibodeau has had probably the most volatile stock of anyone in this process, just because he's a little bit of a polarizing figure. But there's a reason why this guy was talked to be the number one pick during college football season. There's a reason, and yeah, sure, maybe he's into his Bitcoin and whatever, but like, I don't care to show up. Like, the Giants need a pass rusher. And like you said, Carm, you know, best player available. The Giants aren't close enough to start picking like for, you know, specific needs and stuff like that. You go best player available, and the board kind of broke their way. So, you know, this is to me a home run pick for sure.
Sure. You want to draft Fournette in the 7th round? Okay, go ahead. But I honestly, I still probably wouldn't even do it there. What do you like here with Carolina, Matt?
So, look, we got a few things with Carolina. Now, let's set it up. They don't have a 2nd or 3rd round pick, so they could trade back and try to recoup some assets. There are some teams that could certainly trade up and get an offensive lineman here. Now, the Panthers themselves need an offensive lineman badly, so they could take one. Then you have also the other third door here, quarterback. This is a team I've asked people for a month now in the league, what pick are you most interested in? This has been largely the answer, because you've got an owner who will say right now, hey, Rome wasn't built in a day, but let's be real. Like, they are under a lot of pressure to win right now. They have not been good. Rule's got 10 wins in 2 years. If they go 4-13 this year, heads are very likely to roll in Carolina. So do you panic and take a quarterback? Or do you say we're going to take a tackle? We'll trade for Baker after the draft, and that's our best route to win 8-9 games this year? So I think it's one of those three: tackle, quarterback, or a trade back, and you pick up some day 2 ammunition.
I just really hate when teams are in that position, because you always have to do what's for the best for the franchise long term, especially when you're picking number 6. So, and where you're at Carolina. So the fact that Rule's under fire, that just sucks. It screams of exactly what went on in Chicago last year. Yep. And what do we got? You guys are ahead of me with all this stuff.
Look, right now the Panthers are still on the clock. 3 minutes ticking.
Oh, I thought you said there he goes. Okay, never mind.
No, nothing done yet.
Okay,
Panthers still on the clock.
Yeah, I think the Panthers should probably look to move back here, gain some ammunition. I think you're going to start to see teams get a little antsier, maybe for a receiver. I've been kind of beating the Jameson Williams. He reeks of a guy that some team is going to be excited to get, and they want to move up to get him. So I think maybe this is the spot where you go back, you pick up, like, I don't know, from the Saints, the Eagles, the 15, like mid-teens, maybe another 3rd round pick, and you really start to rebuild your roster that way. I'm just not sure if taking Evan Neal right now, I'm just like kind of throwing a name out there, but taking Evan Neal, I'm not sure if that is like what you should be doing with your only pick in the next 2 days.
That's the other thing, you know, from a Carolina, it's another point. Like, look, there's no one that's saving you at this spot. You just have to. Yeah. And by the way, a reminder to everybody, we've got a bunch of channels streaming tonight. So Stack in the Box, Arrowhead Attic, DeWindy City. For you joining us right now, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on so you'll know when fan-sided content is rolling towards you. Of course, Verderame, and Reed, throw your podcast out there, damn it. Let's go.
Yeah. Make sure you're checking out the Daily Bet Slip every day, 5 Eastern, Monday to Friday. We're giving out picks for the night that is. We're talking biggest things. We're doing NFL draft this afternoon also. So make sure you're checking that out on the Bet-Sided YouTube channel, which I imagine there's a link like underneath me right now. So make sure you're subscribing to that.
And for people that don't know Reed, he came out of the womb gambling. So it's a great show. You do a phenomenal job, and you're dialed in, man. So it's good stuff.
Appreciate it.
And always, by the
Absolutely.
way, use gambling for entertainment, not to try to make a living. That's just my personal opinion. All right, here we go.
Panthers are taking Equanu 6.
There it is. All right, your guy, Verderam. Tell us about your time with Icky. Give me
Great
something.
kid. Spent 2 days with him and 6 other guys. Aiden Hutchinson, Boye Mafe.
Now we just lost Verderam.
Big hulking guy.
There he is.
The first time I saw him, he was planking at 7 o'clock in the morning with 160 pounds on his back, I think it was. I mean, no joke. Like, no joke. Really smart guy. Like I said earlier, got accepted to Harvard. Didn't want to go there because he wanted to go to a Power 5 school. Wanted to go to NC State. A guy who I think will thrive in the NFL. Just somebody who I think is built to go in, have a 12-year career, be a damn good football player. I think it's a great pick by Carolina.
He seems like the most likable dude going. I mean, watching like
He's
just,
a stud.
Yeah, just straight stud. Hey, Rita, are we going to see you later tonight, or is this it?
Well, Giants are picking up again next, so I'm not sure if I'm jumping back on the stream, if I'm staying on the stream.
No. That's my bad. I just pushed you off. You're hanging right now, baby.
I'm chilling.
You're not going anywhere. What do you? Let's look at what we think here. So Icky gone. Evan's going to be the slot here. Is that your guess?
Well, so they've been linked this entire pre-draft process to Charles Cross. Cross was kind of rising to 5 on a lot of the mocks and a lot of the reports. So maybe the Giants go Charles Cross. I would personally rather Evan Neal, but again, to me, it's kind of here or there. Like if the Giants like their guy Cross, that's cool. You know, I think either trading back or taking an offensive line right now really shapes up well. I'm more intrigued that the Panthers couldn't find someone to trade back for them. You know, you get 5 defensive players in a row, and the Panthers are rumored to be wanting to trade back, maybe take someone like Kenny Pickett later in the first round. That was a little interesting, but I think Giants have to go offensive line here, and I don't think there's necessarily a wrong pick. Again, Giants are off to a hot start right now.
The trade back part is interesting because in the past, you'd be getting a lot more value than you're going to get this year. And some, are speculating like, look, this is this year, and if it makes sense for you to trade back, then do it because sure, it doesn't look as good as what you were going to get, say last year, but it's still the best move right now. But it doesn't seem like certainly Carolina didn't want to do that.
Yeah, I think that it kind of shows that no one's really biting on these offensive players, right? This is a defensive-driven draft. I feel like that was the narrative going into it, and it played out. First 5 picks, all defensive players. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but I feel like that has to be one of the rarest occurrences ever in the draft, right? There's no way that happens at all.
No doubt. I will say this. I think it's setting up for a massive, massive run on receivers between 10 and 25.
Exactly.
I mean, that's coming. Like, you're going to start having, once one of them goes, it is going to be a free-for-all with these kids coming off the board. I'd be shocked if that's not the case. I think you're going to see quite a bit of that.
So it's interesting that you think this is going to be Cross, and okay, I just look Mississippi State. People, there's Bruce Feldman of The Athletic didn't have him in his first round. Not in the top 10, not in the top 20. He didn't have him in the first round. I don't know if Bruce was drinking. I don't think he was. But so that's that's a huge variance right there. I don't know. It makes me nervous if I'm the Giants, if that's where you're going.
Yeah, I think that this pick should be Neal, just with the pedigree coming from Alabama. You have the Brian Dable connection, new Giants head coach. To me, Neal is the pick here. And listen, maybe Saban isn't as glowing on him. I mean, I don't know if that's the connection, but you have to think Dable and Saban have spoken about Neal. He's a clear, prospect in this range. And I guess we'll see. I mean, you got to trust the coaches, right? If they see something in Cross, they've been connected to him the entire time. Like the past month, it's been all Charles Cross stuff. So we'll see if that's what happens.
Well, what do they do with Andrew Thomas? I mean, Charles Cross has played nowhere else on the offensive line his entire Mississippi State career.
Yeah, Neal would go on the right side, Thomas on the left side. That's why I think the fit is a little bit better. But I believe they worked out Cross pre-draft. I might be just going off the cuff here, but I'm pretty sure they worked out Cross at guard. But again, you're spending a top 10 pick on a guard. I don't know. So I'm kind of pulling for Neal here. But if they trust Cross, they also got Thibodeau just now, so I guess I can't really hate on them.
Do we think Atlanta coming up here is going to be our first quarterback? That's where I'm wondering. When are we going to see a quarterback go?
Willis is from Atlanta. He's from there. And that is the one franchise, or one of a few. They have to consider selling tickets. They have to factor that in, right? Like the Giants are selling tickets. It doesn't matter. The Giants are selling out every game they have. Packers are selling out every game they have. The Falcons are not. And who is the most marketable athlete that franchise has ever had? Michael Vick. Second, maybe Deion Sanders, right? These electrifying talents. He fits that mold. Now, do I think they'll take him? I don't, but he'd be a really good fit there. Plus, he could sit a year in an offensively minded coach's scheme with Arthur Smith there. You could sit by Mariota, learn. I think it'd be a home run of a pick for Atlanta, but I don't know that they'll go that way at 9.
That's another one of my philosophies that I hate because we can't sell tickets, so let's take this dude because
but that's real. That happens.
I know. No, I agree.
I
agree. It happens often, and I think it's dumb. Hey, dude, you know what people like? They like winning. So, so they'll come if you win. This is interesting from Apex Affairs are in the chat about I don't know what Sportsocracy is here, but it has the Chiefs trading for 9 to move up to get the receiver Williams. What do you think about that, Verderam? You buy any? You buy it at all?
Did it actually happen? By the way, the Giants are taking Evan Neal.
Oh,
I imagine you're gonna hear the draft party in probably 3 minutes start screaming again about Neal. That was who the room was high on also. So just be prepared for a quick roar from the other side of the wall.
Not bad.
Yeah, Giants. I said this was gonna be teed up for the Giants. They were gonna have a good draft. This would be very hard to mess up, and they came through with flying colors, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's good job there, New York Football Giants, and good job to you, Reed. Appreciate you, brother. Let's we'll see you soon, my friend. Thanks for jumping on. Sure, all right. Guys. Yep. Have your enjoy your party as we continue on.
That's a hell of a haul for the Giants, man. Thibodeau and Neal. Some people thought those guys should have been 1-2.
Yeah. Hey, are you ready, Daniel? Can you do it, buddy? We're doing everything we can. Still need to get your quarterback, I guess. But okay. Let's roll on to our next guest here, Verderam. This is an interesting draft so far. Ian McMillan, bet-sided as well, at Ian Mac Bets, joining us here as we get ready for the Atlanta Falcons. We're speculating on.
Can you guys hear me? I think my internet's.
We got you, brother. We got you loud and clear. You're in the show, my friend. Good to see you, Ian.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
I can. It's
all right. Welcome. All right. So
cutting in a note though. I might quickly switch computers if that's okay with you guys. The internet's
go for the switch
right now for the Giants. Okay, so that's officially happening. And so now Evan Neal goes 7. So look, let's stop and reset for a minute. Okay.
Sure.
So here's where we're at. Atlanta's coming on the clock at 8. We have 5 defensive players off the board. We have Hutchinson and Thibodeau as the 2 edge guys. Trayvon Walker, kind of a jack of all trades up front. Then you got the 2 corners, and they have 2 tackles. So we have not seen a receiver taken, which is not surprising. I think the first spot everybody thought a receiver might go would be Atlanta. So if not Atlanta, then the Jets or Washington. I feel like this could be where the run starts. Atlanta needs a receiver. Atlanta needs a lot of crap. Okay, they have maybe the worst roster in the league. Then you go. Seattle doesn't need a receiver. The Jets do, and they've been aggressively trying to get one. Just look at Samuel and look at Tyreek Hill. I'd be shocked if they don't take a receiver. Washington needs a receiver. Minnesota does not. Houston could, again, a lot of needs. It could take one. They have other needs as well. Baltimore, I wouldn't expect to take one. Philly could, but you're going to start to see all of a sudden these receivers go. This is a spot now you start watching. Kansas City, Green Bay. Do these teams try to move up and snag a receiver? The Green Bay, if they combine their first 2 picks, they could move up now toward this area. The Chiefs is probably a little rich, but they could get up to 11 or 12. So expect the unexpected here at this point. But right now, Atlanta is the first team. I feel like none of these top 7 are a surprise. Stingley maybe a little bit, but I'm not surprised that like these guys are the ones off the board. Now you start getting Atlanta could go a lot of different directions. So it could be very interesting here as we welcome back Ian McMillan. Ian, you're the resident Falcons fan. Who would you like to see them pick here?
Listen, guys, I can you guys hear me already? I just switched computers. I want to make sure I'm all good.
You're
here.
fine. Fire away and go.
Perfect. Boys, the Falcons have so many holes. I just want anything other than a quarterback. If they go quarterback, I'm going to have an emotional meltdown here because they have so many holes everywhere else in the team. But they could go pass rusher, they could go receiver, they could go offensive line. I'd be happy with basically anything other than quarterback. If I had my choice, I'd probably go. You got to go. I think you have to go receiver here, right? I missed the last pick. Did the Giants take a receiver?
They took Evan Neal.
Yeah, so give me a receiver. Give me Garrett Wilson. That's probably who I'd take at this point. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think, knowing the Falcons like you do? What do you think they're going to do?
I think they're going to take the safety from Notre Dame. And the reason why is because last year when they took Kyle Pitts, the new GM came out and said that their draft strategy is to take the best player available, and they'll tackle needs when it comes to free agency. So last year they took Kyle Pitts. I mean, they didn't really need a tight end, but they took him anyways because he's the best player available. And Hamilton is apparently one of the more talented players in the draft. Of course, it's tough.
It's about to be a receiver for the Falcons. According to Charles Robinson, it is going to be Drake London.
I had a bet on him at like 2.5 to 1 for him to be the first receiver taken, and I thought he might go to the Falcons. I know he's been connected to the Falcons, so for my pocket, I'll take that if it's Drake London.
So according to Charles Robinson of Yahoo, it will be Drake London, and here comes the run on receivers. So Seattle won't take one. That'd be stunning. But beyond that, Jets, Washington, Houston could. New Orleans certainly needs a receiver. The Chargers could take a receiver. Philly could take a receiver. It's coming. It's coming. The pick is officially in, by the way, for Atlanta as we await the official word. But it appears to be Drake London of USC, who got hurt at the end of last year, but was phenomenal before he got injured, had an ankle injury. So the Falcons, all of a sudden, you have Pitts. Now, apparently, Drake London could do a lot worse.
So I sat down with Drake yesterday, and I think we have a little bit of a clip of Drake if you'd like to enjoy some Drake London as he's about to come your way in. Here was Drake talking about the massive athletic ability this dude has. Apparently, he could have been an NBA player as well as an NFL player. Think you would have been a first-round draft pick in the NBA?
I mean, all the guys that I played against in AAU, they're already in the league. A lot of my teammates are already in the league. And I was doing them the same way I was doing these guys on the football field. So I think I would be fine.
Who were some of the teammates?
Zaire Williams on the Memphis Grizzlies.
Sure.
And I played against, you can name them. Scotty Barnes. There's tons of players out there you can name. Trey Mann. You can name a lot of people who I played against who are already in the league. So.
The man could have gone, at least in his mind, to the NBA. And I watched his highlights, by the way, insane. And super confident that he's going to make an instant impact here. I mean, the question, of course, is who's throwing him the ball. Good luck to Marcus Mariota and company. But, Ian, you like the pick?
I like it. I mean, who's our top receiver right now? Is it Caius, who's like a number 3 receiver at best? So, yeah, there's just so many holes we needed. I mean, like I said, pass rusher, DB, I would have been fine wherever. But I'll take a receiver. We need some kind of talent on the offensive end. So, I'm happy with it. I mean, obviously he wasn't the favorite to be the first wide receiver taken, so we'll see. But I trust in the scouts. To be fair, we've done a pretty decent job of drafting wide receivers in the past, so I trust them here.
Verem, you named it, buddy.
I mean, need a receiver. And I think now look, Seattle could go a lot of different ways. Could go offensive tackle. Could certainly go defense. I mean, Jermaine Johnson may be here. There's a lot of options for Seattle. After that, I think it's receiver at 10 for the Jets. I think there's a very good chance it's receiver at 11 for Washington. And then I think Minnesota, if that's the way it shakes, I love Kyle Hamilton to Minnesota at 12. Minnesota is in need of some secondary help. So I could certainly see that being the way they go.
Yeah, and look, the Seahawks are just in a really weird spot right now because I guess you're turning over the franchise. Okay, Pete, you want to run the ball and play defense. That's what you want to do until you don't want to do this anymore, or we finally kick you out the door. But we've had a huge run. I don't know. Maybe they'll go and take a swing here for Hamilton. That wouldn't surprise me either. I don't know. Carroll seems to have the keys to the car once again here with Russell out the door. Am I going too far out on a limb here or no?
He's 70. Like Carroll's 70.
I know, but
I mean, at some point here, it's a weird situation because it's like they're rebuilding, but they're not completely rebuilding. But you have Drew Lock at quarterback. Like you're rebuilding whether you like it or not. So Seattle's in a weird spot right now.
Breer's reporting that 3 names linked to Seattle: Thibodeau, Stingley, and Charles Cross. So only one of the 3 is left. So
yeah,
maybe
that makes sense with Cross.
And
it appears, by the way, that is the way they're going. Not confirmed, but that appears to be the direction they're going.
That'll excite the masses. All right. So back to the
Drake
offense.
London's looking great in his suit, by the way. I like the pick already based on how he's rocking that suit right now. Beautiful. For future Falcon, great right there.
There we go. And I got to tell you, the Giants, you got a new GM, and this is how you come out of the gates here. You're feeling pretty good about yourself. I mean, Brian Dable. I mean, it feels like the football Giants are winning the draft right now, just winning the reset of the offseason, if you will.
They are. They absolutely, and they did nothing in free agency because they had no money. By the way, the tweet that was put out there about Cross, and I won't say by who, it was a reputable reporter, has been deleted. So take that for what it's worth. I don't know, just a tip that was no good, or maybe it was good, and we'll find out soon. We will see. We will see. But it was deleted. So the Seattle remains the next team to pick. And then, like I said, I think we're going to get a full-blown run on receivers. And Atlanta kind of kicked off there at 8. Seattle's still on the clock for what it's worth, under 5 minutes to go. Could go a lot of different directions. Offensive tackle, and then again, you can go edge rusher here. I don't think any corner at this point makes sense. I don't see him going that way. The 2 top guys off the board. There's no linebacker here that makes sense. So probably either edge or tackle would be the pick here for the Seahawks. And this was also the spot reportedly, talked about here, that the Chiefs were trying to trade up to. Now, I don't know. I have no idea how much validity that has, but Seattle would make sense as a team trying to trade back, although they already have a ton of picks after trading away Russell Wilson. So all things to keep in mind.
And if you are just joining the stream, just to recap it, Trayvon Walker first to the Jags, Hutchinson to the Lions, Stingley to the Texans, Sauce Gardner to the Jets, Thibodeau to the Giants at 5, Iquanu to the Panthers at 6, Evan Neal to the Giants at 7, Drake London at 8 to the Falcons, and here we are with the Seahawks on the clock. Ian, what's going on at Betside? Give a little promotion over there, my friend.
Yeah, we just started a new daily show, Daily Bet Slip, 5 p.m. Eastern on the BetSide YouTube channel. We're live on the weekends as well, 11 a.m. Eastern. Check those out for your best bets of the day and talking everything in the sports betting world. So check that out every single day, Monday to Friday, Saturday to Sunday. It's good stuff.
Anything that you would throw out there right now, if you want to throw down get a little extra action on your draft night that perhaps would be a good play?
I don't know if there's they're probably closed now, most draft markets. Here, I'll say one for the last day of the draft. Mr. Irrelevant to either be a defensive player or a punter. Last pick of the draft. I like that.
There we go. I didn't mean to put you on the spot too much. I didn't know that they close off the draft thing on that. Just showed my betting ignorance right there. So I outed
myself. Might still be able to
myself.
draft that one since it's not going to be until the weekend. So Mr. Irrelevant, defense punter.
Cheeto freak. Come on, man. Mariota's going to throw more touchdowns to himself than to London. That's not nice.
going to be a rough year. It's going to be a rough year as a Falcons fan. I'm prepared for it. I'm basically cheering for Matt Ryan and the Colts this year, so we'll see.
Yeah, I get that. That's a fair play. He was
Right,
so
pick
good to you
is,
for so long. Yeah.
Pick is in from Seattle.
What do we got?
Well, we'll see.
Let's-
But the pick's in.
Doing it. Okay. When you say the pick is in, I feel like somebody's already tweeted it. Yeah, and here it is. Charles Cross,
There you
number 9.
There you go.
That's what our guy Jordan Schultz is reporting, at least right now.
So now, well, he's plugged in up in Seattle. So now you've got 3 tackles off the board, and now there's a drop off after the top 3. There's still some other guys like Penning out of Northern Iowa. Okay, Zion Johnson out of Boston College is an interior lineman, is highly thought of. But the top 3 are gone. So now you get to 10. If the Jets keep this pick, I will eat my beer bottle if they don't take a receiver. Like I will be floored, and I will also laugh hysterically if they don't take a receiver here. I mean, you've got a number 2 pick last year, quarterback. Who's your number 1 receiver right now? Corey Davis? Braxton Berrios? That's no way to live. So you got to get somebody here who helps you out. You got to get somebody. And I think if the Jets pick, it's got to be a receiver.
What about a deal with the Niners right now for Debo out of nowhere?
That would be impressive. Might be a little bit close to the deadline, but they need a receiver. They need a receiver. Like if you're the Jets, you cannot walk out of the top 10 with 2 picks and not be in a spot where you have a receiver. You can't do it.
Most people think it's going to be Garrett Wilson here, right?
Yes.
And Garrett Wilson is a flat stud. So, that if I'm a Jets fan, I would feel pretty good that, okay, we're actually getting some help for our quarterback here. So I would, that would feel okay at this point in time. I guess if you're, you went out. I don't know. Does Sauce Gardner, does that excite anybody? If you're a Jets fan, it wouldn't to me. We took Sauce Gardner at 4.
Oh, no, that's a great pick. I got no problem with that. I mean, what the hell? Why not? I mean, it turns out to be a Pro Bowl corner. That's pretty damn exciting in a league where everybody throws the ball a million times. But you need a receiver. Now you need a receiver. This is where, if you are the Jets, unless you trade back. Now, if you trade back, okay, fine. But if you're going to make the pick here, you need a receiver. Like I don't care. There's no other. All the top 3 left tackles are gone. You're not taking a tackle here. Defensively, you just took Sauce Gardner. I mean, Jermaine Johnson, an edge rusher. I mean, they haven't had an edge rusher in forever, although they do have Carlos Dunlap coming back off of injury. So, okay, fine. Or excuse me, not Carlos Dunlap, Carl Lawson. But it's got to be a receiver. Like if you're gonna have Zach Wilson succeed, you need to help the guy. Like I will be, if they don't take a receiver after all the effort that they've put in to trade for Tyreek Hill, to reportedly try and get Debo. Like if you don't do that, if you made all that effort and then you go, we're good, linebacker. Then what are you doing? What are you doing? This has to be a receiver if the Jets don't move back.
Would you go Jameson Williams or would you go Garrett Wilson?
I don't care. I honestly don't. I like Williams better than Wilson, but I wouldn't quibble on it. I wouldn't kill the Jets. But if it's not a receiver, I'm going to crush them. Okay.
Are you surprised there hasn't been any trades yet, by the way?
No, I think I'm not. I said all week, I think there's going to be a ton of trades, but I thought they'd start right around the teens. I thought the top 10, I thought maybe there'd be a trade or two, but once the corners went so early, I think that kind of took that out. I think you're going to start seeing it very soon here with these receivers starting to go off the board. I think that's when you're going to start seeing these teams the Packers, the Chiefs, trying to get up and make it happen.
Crush is telling you to start sucking down the shanties, Verderam. Could be a long night.
Believe me, I've got 5 more upstairs. Not that I'm gonna drink all 6 of them tonight, because then this stream would probably get me fired.
Your Arrowhead Act buddy Matt Connor's asking who will be the first team to trade up. It's an interesting question, Matt, and you do great work, by the way, buddy. Appreciate you jumping
First
in.
team to trade up. I mean, that's a good question. I'll say the Packers, but I mean it could be one of many teams. But I'll say the Packers.
That's the thing with Green Bay. Like, you need a lot. So are you? What are you willing to mortgage? Maybe you're mortgaging future picks.
You're trying to win right now, Rodgers, and you're worrying about it later. I think you'd go with a receiver and be happy with it. By the way, Garrett Wilson to the Jets.
There it is.
Number 10.
There it is. Most people's best player on the board.
There he goes. And now 11 becomes interesting. Washington's another team that needs a receiver. Needs a lot of things, to be fair, but needs a receiver. Would they go Jameson Williams to pair with Terry McLaurin? Would they go Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson's teammate?
I've got myself some Chris Olave for us to play whenever Chris Olave comes along here. Although our connection with Chris Olave was terrible. A lot of people think that Chris Olave is just a guy. I don't know how you guys view it, but that he does great against, call it Northwestern, but if you put him up against elite talent, he doesn't look like the same Chris Olave. So that there's that level of concern. Ian, I think you want to jump on out of here. Anything going on in your mind that you did not get out that you need to say before you leave this stream? Please do.
I don't think so, guys. Go Falcons. It's going to be a rough couple of years. But, hey, we got our guy, Drake London's a future Hall of Famer. Let's go.
There it is. There it is.
Good for you. Good for you. Hope's a powerful thing. It's also a painful thing.
Ian, appreciate you, brother.
Telling me.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for jumping on, man. We're going to have Tay and Todd from the Tay and Todd podcast with Washington coming up here. I believe they're popping up here in a second or two. Verderam, we just missed an opportunity there for a nice, solid meltdown from you, but we didn't get it because the Jets
didn't get it. They actually did a smart thing. So good for the Jets. Good for the Jets fans.
It's just interesting to me that people are looking at the draft like, it's a terrible draft. There's not a lot of high-end talent, but
it's not a terrible draft. It's just terrible quarterback. And that's all people can figure out because people are too lazy to check out 3 other players that aren't quarterbacks.
I mean, I'm looking at guys who are getting drafted right now. I'm thinking perennial Pro Bowlers, Evan Neal, Iquanu. I love Kayvon Thibodeau. I think a lot of these guys are going to have phenomenal careers. So I there's a lot of talent in this draft. What was that Olave comment? I missed it. Doesn't matter. So anyway, all right, here we go. The Commanders, baby. Let's go. I'm still getting used to the Commanders. I don't know if everybody else is acclimated themselves.
I am. It's still weird. So, look, it's Garrett Wilson, by the way. That is one hell of a suit. That is the different colors. A lot going on with that suit. God bless him. All right. So now we go to 11. Washington. I would think it's going to be another receiver. I would think. I mean, they could go other ways. But this could definitely be a receiver.
Yeah, look, there's plenty of needs here. But bottom line, I mean, you could.
Yes, there are.
They could go cornerback, but now we've got Sauce is gone, Stingley's gone, so it did not fall that way. My following of the Commanders, Ron Rivera was talking. He loved Garrett Wilson. Well, that ain't happening. So I mean, to me, Olave just feels way too tall right now, man. A little too tall on Olave for me. And Drake London's gone. So yeah, I don't know. They might not be excited about a receiver here.
I mean, Jameson Williams would excite me right now. My father also brings up a good point. Can the Commanders draft an owner? Which is well put by good old Lance Verderam.
Lance Verderam is watching. What's up, Lance?
Oh yeah, he's He's literally not watching the draft. Like, he's just watching this as the draft on his television right now, home with the dog and God knows how many blue moons.
I think we got to trade. They're trading back, baby.
To the Chiefs, apparently.
Ooh,
Is that
murder him.
hold on, let's just see. Is that so? This is the time of year you always got to look for the fake account. Okay, so let's just make sure that's let's just make sure that's a real account, because
It's always the time of year to look for the fake account.
Ian does say they're trading back. The Saints are on the clock. It is the Saints. Okay, so all right. So the Saints move up. They had 2 first rounders. They had 16 and 19. They acquired one of them from Philadelphia. So the Saints, if they're moving up, now they desperately need a receiver, but they could have gotten a receiver there. It's just a quarterback. They need a quarterback.
It's gotta be.
Now, Carm,
Yeah.
History.
Give me the
couple
history.
years ago, you and I did a show together, and they traded way up with the Packers. They got way up in the first round, and we were both like, they're taking Lamar Jackson. It's got to be Lamar Jackson. And nope, it was Marcus Davenport. So same GM and Mickey Loomis, but it would make you wonder if this isn't a quarterback. I mean, I don't get it. If it's a receiver, why would you trade up? Like, you could have just taken one at 16, unless they're just in love with the guy right there, which is possible, But you have to think quarterbacks, at least on the table right here for the Saints, considering what they need. And I thought since the day they made that trade with Philly, that quarterback was where they were going with this thing.
Yeah, I would agree, but hold on. Let's just do a little bit of math here as we just break that down, because you're going from 16 to 11. All right.
They gave up the 16th pick, a third rounder, and a fourth rounder.
It's a lot.
They still have 2 firsts.
That's a hell of it. Congratulations to Washington. That's a nice job.
That is a nice job. I like that trade for Washington.
Yeah, absolutely a good job. Minnesota, Houston, Baltimore, and Philly. Who's taking a quarterback in that lot?
Nobody, but they might be worried that Pittsburgh was going to jump in there at 20.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. Maybe the Steelers were getting hot and bothered to go get Malik. All right. I could see it from that angle. And yes, they have 18. So okay, they're paying a pretty. They're definitely hot and bothered. Here's a hot take for you, Vernon. They're hot and bothered for somebody. That's why they were willing to give up.
Yeah, they were. They've been moving around for a month on the damn board.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm excited. I've officially reached excitement level. And
first trade of the night.
Our first trade. We literally 5 seconds we were like, who's going to make the first deal? And there it is. Bang, bang. Feel like the chat is all synchronizing, coming together. The Arrowhead Attic with the Stack in the Box and the DeWindy all playing together here. And yes, Kenny Pickett could maybe that's what they want to do here. I don't know.
I'll tell you what. I mean, you got to factor in, not only did they trade the picks they just traded, but they also traded the picks that they gave up to Philly. So this is a ton that they traded to get to this point. If this isn't a quarterback, this is insane. I don't care who they pick.
Yeah, but it kind of feels like Mitchell Trubisky all over again. Maybe
I'm not saying it doesn't, but if this isn't a quarterback, this is bonkers. Like, it has to be to make sense. Now, maybe it's not, but I mean, listen, you've got to trade all those picks and walk out with a quarterback. You don't. By the way, why are the Saints still on the clock? Like, do the Saints not know the hell they're picking? What is happening?
It's called television, dog.
Yeah, geez. I mean, come on. If they did all that to get Jameson Williams, I like Jameson Williams a lot. That's nuts. Okay, I'm sorry. That is crazy if that's what they did.
I'm in a
Mike Silver is saying that it's going to be Chris Olave, which is even more insane.
That's insanity.
That is insane if they did. And that's not against Chris Olave, but like what? I mean, you did all that to get a receiver in this draft? There's 15 guys who are going to go in the top 75 picks.
Yeah,
They took Chris Olave.
Oh my God. There it is. Let's rewind the tape 5 minutes ago to whatever the hell you said the last time the Saints traded up and took Marcus Davenport. And we thought it was going to be whoever you just said. And they just did it again. There it is. Saints history part 2 right here. Verderam's look right now is of that's my highlight moment of our first. Well, how long we've been on now? An hour and whatever, 45 minutes. The look of death on my guy.
I mean, God Almighty, that is so dumb. Like, here you are. You're the Saints. You have needs galore. You need a left tackle because Teron Armstead's gone. You need a million things. And you decided, hey, let's trade an ungodly amount of draft capital for a receiver. And look, I'm not killing Olave. He's the second receiver taken off his own team. I mean, he's not even the best receiver on his own team in college. I'm sorry. What are they doing? That's, by the way, like they had a stroke of luck when Breeze didn't get offered a contract in Miami. She was coming off the shoulder surgery, okay? And he lands in New Orleans, and they won a Super Bowl, and God bless him. But my God, that team never got back to Super Bowl. Breeze have been in cap hell forever. The GM's got carte blanche to do whatever he wants. How do you make that I mean, somebody's going to do the math I don't have time to do right now. How many picks between the trade they just made and the trade with Philadelphia did they trade to get Chris Olave in a draft where there's literally going to be 10 receivers in the top 50 picks? Like, what are you doing? They might have been able to stay at 16 and get Chris Olave.
I would say they would have been able to stay.
That's wild, man. That is a wild, wild decision. Like, what are you doing?
Well, to me, it's the classic case of here's the receivers that we really love, and we've got to get one of them. Oh, no, they're all going. This is the last guy, so we have to have one of our guys because we're just that good at evaluating that there's no way that the next receiver down on our chart is going to have as good of a career as Chris Olave. So we got to go up and get it. And then we're going to tell all our fans that we had conviction or whatever the hell we're going to say. I don't know. And it's also because they have extra draft picks. I think they felt like they had some cushion, which really should not be necessarily a huge factor. And our own private chat here, Sean's mentioned that Kyle Hamilton is dropping. That's true. So our run on defense has stopped for a second here. I don't know, man. There's a lot of people around the NFL pumping their fists saying, all right, sweet. Thank you, New Orleans. Number one team doing that right now is the Commanders, who. Okay, great.
If you're the Commanders, yeah, it's a good trade. It's a great trade. Why not? That's just insane to me. And listen, Olave might end up being a very good player. I'm not trying to trash the kid. The kid might be terrific, but I'm sorry. That is nuts. I mean, that just makes no sense. But that is just insane. I'm sorry. That makes no sense.
And apparently right now the Detroit Lions are moving up.
Right now?
That's what I'm seeing in our own personal chat here. I don't
That's a hell of a move. They're giving up next year's first? I know they got 32 and like 34.
Yep.
The Lions are on the clock again. It's got to be. Now that is a quarterback. That's coming. Well, Carm carries for a second. I got to do my editorial duties here.
No problem. All right. So the Detroit Lions, according to Albert Breer, who's been on the money tonight. Good God. The Vikings trading back. The Lions moving up. That is, and I think Verderam is absolutely correct here, that Detroit has got to be thinking about who in the world are we going to get to play quarterback. And what's super interesting about that would be a trade in the division, right? Minnesota, hey, we kick your ass every year. But let's see. 12 and 46 for 32, 34, and 66. So let me just digest that for a second here. They moved their 32nd.
So they gave up a first, a second, and a third. Compensatory third.
Yeah, but they have a
Right.
very early
Early third.
and early second. I mean, 34th. You're
got
giving
46 back though. So that
I mean, whatever. The draft calculator is the draft calculator. I get it. So, I mean, you're moving up 20 spots, and
Patrick
that-
Allen saying it's James. Oh my God, man!
it's the receiver panic draft. It is the
Jameson Williams. Oh my God, they did all that for freaking Jameson Williams. Are you kidding me?
I love Jameson Williams. I'm a huge fan. Huge fan. That guy's going to be a stud, assuming he gets back healthy. But that is bizarre. And that's the second time tonight that we've gotten that look from Verderame. The back to back at 11 and 12. I love it live. Verderame live. There is no better. Listen, Jameson, I get the excitement to get Jameson Williams. I think that he is. I mean, if he doesn't get hurt, man, that's a top 3 pick. So
no, he's not.
Top 5.
He's in the top 10, and that's, dude. That is.
I mean, it's okay. Maybe I
What are you
overcooked it,
doing?
but
You're the Lions, man. You got a million needs. You got a million needs, and you took a receiver.
well, you called the run on receivers.
Yeah, no, I mean that certainly was true. Dude, listen. I think James Williams is going to be a really good player. That is insanity. That is insanity. Like, how in the world do you trade all that capital for a receiver? When if you're a guy away, I get it. You're the Lions. You're 40 guys away. And you gave up a first, a second. Now, I get you're getting a second back. I understand if you're moving way back. A first, a second, and a third. A first, a second, and a third. Now the Eagles have moved up. So here we go. Told you we're going to have a lot of trades tonight. They're moving up to take the spot of the Texans at 13.
Patrick, you're a funny man. One pride, baby. Not no pride. One pride. Jameson Williams trading up from 32. Here comes Detroit. We are stamping ourselves as the worst damn franchise in the NFL right here, buddy. Don't you worry, New Orleans. We will keep the crown. There it is. Boy, my quarterbacks apparently the Carm hot take of you take big swings here. No one's doing it. Not only are they not doing it, they're trading up, giving up picks and not doing it. Wow. Okay. These guys must really suck. And apparently the Eagles are moving up now.
Yes.
Did you just say that? If you did, my bad.
They moved to 13.
Well, and this was the predictability of the unpredictable is coming true right now. So the Eagles are moving up from Cleveland through Houston to pick 13. Wow. So then the Ravens are still at 14. The Eagles back at 15 from Miami, and it'll be the Commanders at 16 from Indy through Philly and New Orleans. Finally, bang.
Also, real quick, because it's been left behind the dust here. The first game of the year was announced, scheduling wise, on NFL Network, and it is the Chargers at the Chiefs, Week 2, Thursday Night Football. So, Los Angeles, Kansas City at Arrowhead, Week 2, first game ever first game ever for the Thursday Night package on Amazon Prime. So, starting with a bang. The Chargers and Chiefs. That is not going to be a bad game. That could be a wild atmosphere. So now we get the James Williams pick officially. Philly, of course, on the clock. Look, by the way, let's address it because I know there's a lot of Chiefs fans in here. So let's just hit this real quick off the top. Look, I've seen people like panicking, like, what are the Chiefs going to do? Guy, I honestly, I got to tell you, I don't think this is playing out the worst way in the world for the Chiefs. I think people have thought they were going to take a receiver really early. I'm not saying that if they didn't fall a certain way, they wouldn't have. The Chiefs need edge rushers and they need corners. They were never getting Hutchinson, and they were never getting Thibodeau, and they weren't getting those 2 corners. So the fact that none of them, nobody's come out of that position group since, I actually think is a pretty good situation for Kansas City. Jermaine Johnson's still out there. William Maffey's still out there. Karlaftis is still out there. McDuffie's out there. Dax Hill's still out there. Kyler Gordon of Washington, the corner still. I don't think it's bad at all for Kansas City. I actually think they're in pretty good shape, to be perfectly honest. I truly feel that way. So
let me give you the Eagles pick, and then you'll have to carry it for a second. The Eagles are giving up the 15th,
right,
the 124th,
okay,
the 162nd, and the 166th.
Yeah, that's fine.
Really, for the 13th pick? That's a ton.
Yeah, you're giving up a couple flyers. I don't hate that. I mean, you're overpaying a little.
For two picks? I don't know. It seems two slots. I don't know. Carry it for a minute here.
Okay, so listen. Now we're sitting here waiting on pick number 13 for the Eagles. But yeah, as far as the Chiefs go, look, I'm not. I actually think it's falling pretty well for him. Look, I get if you want a receiver, then yeah, sure, you don't love it, but I really think that is their third biggest need, like easily their third biggest need. They need a corner, they need an edge rusher way more than they need a receiver. I firmly believe that. I see like Dan Orlovsky now tweeting the Lions are about to be a problem in all capitals. Like why? Jared Goff's throwing the ball. They're going to be a problem for the city of Detroit. That's who they're going to be a problem for. All right, let's welcome in Donovan Smoot. Donovan, your team on the clock. Who do you want as an Eagles fan at 13?
Let's go get Kyle Hamilton.
Okay. Safety out of Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think at this point, right, and so coming into tonight, I wanted Jameson Williams. I wanted a wide receiver, but obviously the wide receivers are gone. Let's take the best player available right now, and that's Kyle Hamilton. Let's get somebody else in the back end to help Darius Slay out, and let's do that, and then we can focus on the wide receiver later.
Well, it's apparently going to be defensive tackle Jordan Davis.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
That is according to Twitter, that's who you guys are taking. Jordan Davis, who ran a faster 40 at 340 pounds than Patrick Mahomes did. So the athleticism, not in question. The Eagles have always been, under Howie Roseman, a team that believes in the front. Yeah. They've always been very good on both sides of the ball in the trenches. It served them well. Now they get Jordan Davis. He's going to pair inside with Hargrave and Cox and everybody. I mean, you got bodies for days inside. Obviously not Hamilton, who you wanted. Thoughts on getting Jordan Davis here at 13?
I'm kind of confused. I don't think. Do you think that they had to trade up to go get Davis?
Might have wanted to get ahead of Baltimore.
Maybe
he's a Ravens guy. Like that kind of player is a Ravens guy. So that would be my thought process.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing is maybe to jump in front of Baltimore. I don't know if they had to give up as much as they did to do it, but I mean, listen, the formula that the Eagles had whenever they won the Super Bowl was to dominate everybody on both sides of the line. And so if we're gonna try and restart that, then okay, I'm cool with that. I'm never gonna be upset, angry at building a defensive line or an offensive line. I just kind of wanted to see my first priority. I wanted to see an offensive player and a wide receiver specifically, just because I think that the Eagles are in a position where they need to figure out what they want to do with Jalen Hurts. And the more talent that you could surround him with, then you could start getting a clearer picture around that. So, but Jordan Davis, okay, I'm cool with that. That's not bad. I'm kind of excited. I'll talk myself into it by the time the season rolls around.
You'll talk yourself into it by about 10 o'clock tonight.
Exactly. I'll see some highlights on Twitter.
Listen, he's a hell of an athlete. He'll help be disruptive in a division really where, let's face it, I mean, the Eagles are already competitive, and if he's a really good player, it only helps to go that much further to catch Dallas, who is certainly catchable. And now we have Baltimore on the clock. We'll see if we get a fourth straight trade. Some people have felt like we might see Baltimore move back. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how things shake out here. I mean, I thought we'd see a huge run on receivers. We have. I thought the Saints were nuts for giving up what they gave up. But the Lions, I am floored by. Like that, you need so much Now, and I get it. They've got a million picks because of the Rams deal with Goff and everything. I get all that. But, like, man, you needed a lot. You needed a lot. And if Jameson Williams isn't God in cleats, I don't know. That is a rich trade.
Yeah, that's a little shaky for them. Just to have Goff back there, you for real gotta. They need to make a move right now. If honestly, like Baker Mayfield might have to be, a move that they go make just to get some type of upgrade outside of Goff.
Yeah, I mean that's a significant move. Look, now we've got so coming up, we got Baltimore next, then it's Houston who traded back with Philly. All right, and then we keep rolling. Then it's Washington who traded back from New Orleans. And then we get to the Chargers. So those are the next couple of picks coming up. As at least on NFL Network, they've gone to commercial break. I don't know if they've gone to commercial break on ESPN. But it's going to be interesting here at 8:37 Central Time. We're not even halfway through the first round. Thank you again for joining us. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Both Stacking the Box and the Arrowhead Act podcast, and of course, Carnes podcast, Windy City. Hit the like button if you could. We appreciate it. And of course, you have Donovan here on the stream for another couple of minutes. Donovan, so now, look, your Eagles, they've got capital for days. Who else would you like to see them go after?
Trent McDuffie. I think at this point, if I either need to see the back end get improved or we go get a receiver. Those are my two targets before the draft. And so if they can go get, maybe a Treylon Burks or McDuffie, those are the guys that I'm looking at for them.
Donovan, good to see you. Sorry I missed the start of this, but I just want to hear you tell me exactly why you like the pick of Jordan Davis one more time. Can I hear that one more? I got to process this one for myself.
He's an athletic freak, and so he's an athletic freak. I'm never going to be truly upset if you're trying to build an offensive or defensive line, especially with the Eagles, because when they won the Super Bowl, that's how they did it. You did it being able to rush forward, get pressure on Brady, able to protect the quarterback. So if with Davis being able to learn from Fletcher Cox, it's going to be a really, really good situation for him. So I'm okay with that pick. I'm good with that.
All right, I'll allow it. Did that surprise you at all?
No, not really. I'm not. I mean, Howie Roseman loves the trenches, so I'm not surprised he did that. I'm not surprised he got ahead of Baltimore to do it.
Okay. To me, it just seemed a little bit nuts with you gave up 3 picks to move up a couple slots.
Like they're just. I mean, look, every pick's valuable. But they're flyers. Like I don't mind that. I'm not gonna.
Okay, maybe I just love flyers, man, because you know what happens? Flyers hit. They do. Like, one of those three should hit. If you're doing your job as an NFL GM, you should hit on one of them.
Okay. I don't know.
All right.
I think.
How much?
By the way, now we got an interesting. So look, the Eagles are officially making their pick right now, or Goodell's making the damn pick. So we'll go to Baltimore, then Houston, then Washington, then LA, as we said, then back to Philadelphia, pick number 18. So we will wait and see. The Ravens, by the way, Kyle Hamilton, the safety that Donovan wanted for Philly. So he goes one pick later. The Ravens investing heavily in that secondary. Look, they're getting Humphrey and Peters back off injury at corner. They signed. Oh my God, I'm blanking on the guy they signed. Marcus Williams to a 5-year, $70 million contract in the offseason at safety. Now they use the first-round pick. They're loading up on the secondary.
Donovan, I saw it. I saw the resignation in your face. It was there.
Yeah, I'm upset because I wanted Kyle. I think Kyle, especially right now, I thought he was the best player in the draft. I think if you're gonna trade up for somebody, go ahead and trade it for him. And so for the Ravens to just especially on that secondary, the rich are getting richer. With that's a great pick for them. That's a great pick for them on defense. That's fantastic.
Hey, Donovan, none of your bet-sided guys are listening right now. Who's the hottest guy right now over there? Who's making the most dough?
Honestly, Ian's cashed in a couple. Ian McMillan at Ian McBets. He's hit on a couple tonight. He's already cashed in on Drake London plus 220 to be the first wide receiver taken, and he cashed in on the Saints first pick to be a wide receiver. That's plus 350. So Ian's on the heater tonight. So everybody go follow Ian tonight.
Steve Verren, why can't we be making dough like that? Why can't you be giving us that type of information?
I don't play that game. That's why they're bet side.
Donovan, anything you're excited about the rest of the way here?
No, I'm curious to see who's gonna jump and convince themselves that one of these quarterbacks is the future.
Yeah.
I want to see who's gonna make that mistake and trade up to go get him. And I want to see what the Chiefs are gonna do at wide receiver. I want to see if they're gonna make that move and get Tyreek's replacement. Those two are really going to define the night for me.
The quarterback question is getting more and more interesting by the minute to me. I mean, we've had it twice here. We thought both the Saints and the Lions were moving forward, and neither proved to be true. So, anyway, Donovan, good stuff, man. Continued success at Bedside. For those just jumping in, when is the daily Bet-Sided show?
The daily bet slip is every day. It's Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern, and then we have bet and breakfast on the weekends at 11 a.m. Eastern. So everybody check in. We got all the plays from every sport, every game. So we got everybody covered.
Appreciate you, Donovan. Thanks for jumping in, man.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, the Eagles making their moves. Verderame, yes, I can see you with thoughts. Go ahead.
I like it. I like the move. Look, I'll never kill a team for building in the trenches ever. You win there. You win there. I know people get so like, oh, you got to have all these receivers. Look, you win in the trenches. Look at what the Chiefs did with their offensive line. You win because of that, right? Like they got killed in the Super Bowl because they have an offensive line. They drafted an offensive line and signed the guy, and boom, right, and traded for a guy. So, look, I like it. I don't think it makes them like the favorite or anything. I mean, that depends on Jalen Hurts and how good he is. But I think in the end, it's a good deal for Howie Roseman. I don't mind what they gave up. I know you and I are on opposite ends of that. But I like it. I like it.
I mean, listen, if when you're giving up that much, if you're okay, I don't know. I expect to move up more than a couple spots. That's just and for something that's I don't want to kill on them. If you think you got a player that's going to dominate or be a difference maker for you up front for 5-10 years, fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's,
Look,
it's fine.
Listen, is it a game changer? I mean, you never know. It could be, but I mean, does it appear to be on the surface? No, but it's a good pick. Tell you what, it's a better pick than giving up 900 draft picks for a receiver when you won 2 games a year ago. Like that's how bad teams stay bad. Like I don't care if Jameson Williams is a great player, and I know people say, well, "What the hell? Like, isn't the point of the draft? The point of the draft is to help you win games." Like. You have Jared Goff. Now, look, you could argue, yes, next year you get a quarterback, fine. But if you're going to make that kind of a move, it needs to be a quarterback. And if you don't want to get a quarterback, cool. Good with that. But then stay the hell where you are, or maybe move up a little bit. You need those picks. I mean, if I'm the Vikings, I'm like, that's great. Awesome. Give me the picks. Thank you. Come again. I think that's nuts.
What do we think the Texans are doing at 15?
They're tough, man.
Defensive line, offensive line. You could go safety. I mean, they're not
going to go safety here with
Hamilton gone. Okay, fine.
Hamilton gone.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second here. I don't know, man. I mean, you could go so many ways. Like, do you go you could go edge rush here.
Yep.
I mean, they have so many needs. They have so many needs. You could go so many different ways. A linebacker to replace Zach Cunningham, like. Maybe you get the first linebacker off the board, a guy like a Devin Lloyd who we talked to last week. They could go a litany of ways.
Do you like Jermaine Johnson? You have a thought on him?
I think he's going to be excellent. I think he's going to be very good. I think he'd be a great pick here for Houston. And if he gets past Houston, he could slide further because I don't think the Chargers aren't taking him. Washington's not taking him, I wouldn't think. Philly's not taking him. I don't think the Saints are taking him. Pittsburgh's not taking him. I mean, New England maybe, but Green Bay certainly could. But I think at some point somebody's going to trade up for Jermaine Johnson. I do. I think that's how this goes down if he's not here for Houston.
So we're about halfway through. We've got Patrick Allen's going to be coming up as we get closer to the Chiefs. Who else we got here? I believe Tay and Todd are coming up here at some point. Liam McEwen, always entertaining. Josh Hill's going to be here when the Bucks are on the clock at 27. Ben Heisler's coming up. I'm not exactly sure why around the Cowboys, but he's coming up late in the draft. Can't wait to talk to Ben, our stack in the box buddy. It's been a night.
Hey, whoa. Hey, the non-draft trade, the Ravens traded Hollywood Brown to the Cardinals.
Wow. That's my guy Hollywood.
Okay.
We hung out at the Super Bowl, me and Hollywood. We were on the tractors or whatever the hell it was. Snickers.
I don't know you were. That's your problem. It
was me and Aaron Donald in Hollywood. Loved it.
That's interesting.
What do you make it? What'd the Cardinals give?
I don't know. Didn't see the compensation yet.
Texans are taking Texas A&M guard Kenyon Green.
That's I don't kill teams.
Again, there's the upfront for you. Yeah.
I don't kill teams for going up front. That's rich. That's rich. Like a guard at 15 who's not considered a DeCastro type guard, a Quentin Nelson type guard. That's rich. Look, I'm not going to kill him because it's up front. I think you win up front. I really do. And you got to protect the quarterback, get a young quarterback. That's high. That's high. And I see, by the way, somebody asking Jamie Boy, is Chris Jones joining Matt? I am working on it. I'm trying. I hope so. He said he would come on. So we shall see. But obviously, I'm sure Chris is busy as hell. But I am working on getting him on because I would love to have Chris Jones back on the podcast.
Green, A&M, for those who don't know him, junior, 6'4", 323. Draft overview. Guard prospect with NFL-ready frame who plays with an impressive level of consistency as a run blocker. Moves defenders, yada, yada. He has popping. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Pelissero and Tom Pelissero of NFL Network. The Ravens have traded Hollywood Brown and number 100, which is a third-round pick, to the Cardinals for their first-round pick.
Okay.
That's okay. I mean, hey, listen, they got back in the first. So it'll be a second draft in a row for the Ravens. They've had 2 firsts, but man, interesting. By the way, the Commanders, Jahan Dotson,
stud,
wide receiver, Penn State.
That is, I love John Dotson.
Ooh, before Treylon Burks, before George Pickens. Okay. All right.
I like Dotson.
People thought he was a borderline first-round pick. Boom.
Mark that one down. But we'll have a better career. Mark it down. April 28th, 8:49 p.m. Dotson, better NFL career than Olave. Carm, draft night. We'll check it out. We'll come back on this in 3 years and see if I was right. I like Dotson a ton. He's tough, man. Makes plays. So, and what a night for Ron Rivera and company. Let's go. Yeah, I don't know. You're not sweating this for your Chiefs, are you? Not really?
No, not at all. I honestly think it's falling great for him. I know people totally disagree with that. That's fine. I have said forever, for anyone who listens to this podcast, Arrowhead Addict or Space, has been like, look, they need a corner and they need an edge rusher. Way more than they need a receiver. Way more. Like, look, let me ask you this. You're not a Chiefs fan, but obviously familiar with them. The Chiefs, as they stand right now, Mahomes, I think we can both agree, a very good offensive line. They've got Edwards-Helaire and Ronald Jones in the backfield, who I would call average running backs. You have Smith-Schuster, Valdez-Scantling, Hardman, and Kelsey. I mean, is that offense a top 10 offense?
You got no argument for me, buddy. Absolutely it is.
Like, to me, it's borderline top 5 offense. Like, so to me, the defense stinks. I mean, let's be honest about it. The defense stinks. So you can't tell me that they got a bigger need at receiver than they do at edge rusher or corner. There's no way you're making that argument to me with a serious face. Also, now we should quickly touch this Marquise Brown thing. I think the Ravens got a really good deal in terms of value. At the same time, as people have brought up in here, it's my first thought. Who the hell is Lamar Jackson throwing the football to?
Well,
Mark Andrews and you and me.
yeah, but Marquise Brown could not stay healthy, so there's that too.
I get it, man. Look, they got really good value for him. I'm not arguing that. But didn't he have 1,000 yards last year?
I'll double check, but
Damn close if you didn't.
I know that it's been just
you traded away. I mean, I get it, but if you're Lamar, you got to be sitting there going, "Holy hell, man!" Like, can anybody help me out here? And I don't think Lamar Jackson's the greatest passer in the world, but my God, they have not exactly given him an all-star cast. I mean, let's be fair to the man. I mean, Mark Andrews is a great tight end. Other than that, they have nothing. I mean, right now, I defy anybody. Who the hell is their number one receiver?
No, it's there's no way that Lamar's happy with this.
Who the hell is the number one receiver right now on the Ravens?
Marquise was targeted 146 times last year. 104.
Who is your number one receiver?
Yeah, no, and you're late in the game too. Like, where's it coming from? So, I hear your panic for Lamar, and I assume they like somebody out there that they're gonna draft, and maybe they were just like, look, we can get this for Marquise right now. We're not gonna pay him. This is the best time that we can recoup value. Does that make sense? I think it does.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm
no, do your thing. Do whatever you're doing over there. It's okay.
I think it's a really, really, really good value. I mean, everybody's saying Rashad Bateman, like, maybe. I mean, I get he was a first round pick, but like, what the hell did he do last year? I just, man. Listen, again, I like the value for Baltimore. But that offense scare you? I mean, they are bereft, man. They have nobody catching the football in that team outside of Andrews. That's proven. That's proven.
First time bereft has made the podcast tonight. Love it. Again, Marquise Brown in the 100th pick to the Cardinals for the 23rd pick. Okay. So they're taking a wide receiver at 23. Who would
I don't know that they are, man.
Really?
I don't know. I mean,
for everything you just laid out, it would make sense. It would make sense, Matt Verderam. I mean, how else are they going to fill that hole? You ain't doing it in free agency at this point. You gonna make another trade? Patrick Schmidt is back. What's up, Patrick Schmidt?
Just wondering to see if Malik Willis has been drafted yet. We can do the Mel Kiper's best available players.
Hey, you can do your touchdown dance right now, but this ain't over. When Malik is in the Pro Bowl in 3 years, damn it.
I'm getting the beer.
Yeah, go ahead. You do that. But I actually, before you just popped in, Patrick, I was thinking to myself, it is interesting that we are now. What the hell pick are we on? I'm getting drunk on.
We're approaching number 16.
Yeah, I mean nothing with the quarterbacks. Multiple trades, nothing. So they must really suck because this is anti what the league is right now. It's interesting to me.
Yeah, well. I said it, in the pregame when we were on, and if anybody is still in the chat and still watching that has been with us since the start of the show, I said, hey, this is going to be a great draft for the edge rushers and offensive linemen and wide receivers and a couple of great corners. And that's been the story of the draft so far. And I said I wouldn't take any of these quarterbacks. And, I think I'm qualified to be an NFL GM because so far the NFL GMs have been listening. Just, there's teams that needed a quarterback, Carolina, Detroit, whoever else. Just the talent is not there to necessitate a pick this high in the draft. We saw the Saints move up. We thought, hey, maybe is this going to be for a quarterback? It wasn't. It was for a receiver. Then Detroit moves to trade up. Well, this has got to be for a quarterback, right? No, it was for a receiver. So We're in that middle of a run on receivers, and I heard you and Matt talking about the Hollywood Brown trade. Between the Ravens and the Cardinals, we got another huge blockbuster trade with the Titans trading AJ Brown to the Eagles. So this is quite the offseason for wide receiver movement. We saw Devontae Adams go from the Packers to the Raiders, Tyreek Hill from the Chiefs to the Dolphins. We're going to see tons of wide receivers picked already in the NFL draft tonight and over the weekend. Just saw Hollywood Brown traded. Now AJ Brown traded from the Titans to the Eagles. Going to be on the receiving end of passes from Jalen Hurts. This is quite a night.
What exactly are the Titans doing making that deal?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. AJ Brown is a rising star, a guy they just drafted a couple years ago. Do they not want to pay him?
That's what it feels like. It feels like a money deal.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't want to pay him, but let's see. The Titans are trading AJ Brown to the Eagles in exchange for Philly's 18th pick and another third-round pick, according to Diana Rossini. This is crazy. I mean, we're seeing a loaded draft class of receivers this year. Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, AJ Brown, Hollywood Brown. A lot of these guys up for big money deals. Deebo Samuel, is he going to get moved?
Yeah.
The common theme is these receivers are wanting big money deals, and the NFL GMs are like, well, we can get a guy right now with the 18th pick who's going to cost a fraction of what you are, and we hope in the next year or two, we can get the same kind of production. But yeah, this is a stunner. Hollywood Brown was, it's notable and significant in his own right, a former first-round pick, going from one Heisman winner, Lamar Jackson, another Heisman winner with Kyler Murray. But AJ Brown, wow, yeah, I'm with you. What are the Titans thinking? They were the number 1 overall seed in the AFC last year, giving up.
Titans traded AJ Brown.
Yeah. So Derrick Henry is going to get 600 carries next year.
Who the hell's playing quarterback? Who's playing receiver for them?
Yeah. Yeah, this is. I mean, you got to think they're taking one. I heard you, Verderam, right before I came back on. You weren't 100% sold that the Ravens were definitely going to take one with the pick they got from the Cardinals for Hollywood Brown. I think they'll definitely take one, at some point, if not tonight, tomorrow. But yeah, you got to think the Eagles or the Titans are 100% taking one of these wide receivers here. Otherwise, what are you doing?
Right.
That is DK Metcalf on the move here? Pete?
Boy, if Seattle really wants to blow it up, they could get a lot for him. But I think if they were going to do that, they would have done so by now because
no doubt.
You're already in the 17th, 18th pick. If you're going to move DK Metcalf, I'd want to get something, in the top 10, the 10th picks, 11th pick, something like that. Maybe next year, but I think probably it's too late for that. But, what's the price for Deebo Samuel? I mean, the 49ers aren't going to get a first-round pick for him at this rate. It's too late. They're not going to move him for the 25th pick. So, and Carm, we talked about this earlier in the week, with regard to the Bears, and what it would take to get Deebo Samuel in the Bears uniform. We're like, hey, look, it starts at a first-round pick and probably a top 15 to 20 pick. So John Lynch didn't want to trade him anyway, so I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, people thought that Lynch left wiggle room there. I didn't think that. I wasn't reading between the lines at all. To me, it felt like they ain't trading Deebo. He freaking loves Deebo.
If there was anything to be like leaving the door open, it's like, hey, if the Texans want to give me their 2 first-round picks this year, yeah, we'll give you Deebo for 3 and 15 or whatever it was. Or the Saints or something like that. But yeah, there's no chance. This is nuts, man. On a scale of 1 to 10, I think this is probably like an 8 for me on the surprise-o-meter. Hollywood Brown, probably like a 5, but this is surprising.
I'll say quickly, look, the Hollywood Brown thing, I said this before, I'll say it one more time. I think it's great value for the Ravens. I mean, I don't think in any
way. Sure. I don't know why the Cardinals, yeah.
Yeah, because they're the Cardinals. I mean, they haven't won a championship in with color TV. Okay, so hell, they haven't won a championship with TV.
Yeah.
You know, those boys have been sitting around since the 40s trying to win a title.
Chicago Cardinals.
That's right. Chicago, St. Louis, Phoenix, Arizona. It's been a mess. Talk about wandering the desert. Literally, the Cardinals. The Chargers, by the way, took Zion. What I was about to say Williamson.
Zion Williamson from the
I was
Pelicans.
literally about to say it. Zion Johnson, of course, the guard out of Boston College, goes to Chargers. I like the pick for the Chargers. It's not sexy, but you know what? You got to build up that O-line in front of Herbert. They started that last year. Rashawn Slater was a great pick. A left tackle.
Great pick. Phenomenal pick.
Right. Corey Linsley, all-pro center from the Packers. They signed him, but they still were weak at guard. They're weak at right tackle, so they bring in Johnson. I like that move for them. Again, not sexy, but solid. Not going to spend a ton of time on it, but I think it's a smart move by Tom Telesco in that building. But the real thing right now, I think, are these trades that are of these receivers. Listen, again, Marquise Brown, I do wonder with Baltimore, like, are you ever going to get somebody who can catch the ball on the outside from Lamar Jackson? But I also think that's a trade you can't really turn down if you're Baltimore. Like, the Cardinals are giving you a ton for a guy who's had 1 year where he's been good. The A.J. Brown thing, look, you get a first and a third for him. They clearly didn't want to pay him. If you're not going to pay A.J. Brown and you're the Titans and I'm sorry, who's catching the ball? Like, I just don't – like, Derrick Henry's about to retire right now. Right? That man just got hurt last year. He's getting he's literally going to get the ball 400 times next season.
Yeah, and that's a conservative estimate.
Oh, my God, man. It's crazy. I don't care who they're taking in the draft either. Like, he's getting the ball a million times.
You know, the thing with Hollywood Brown and, like, Lamar Jackson, like, Lamar Jackson he's got an MVP on his resume. He's a great quarterback. Outstanding at what he does. It's like, what kind of wide receiver does he really need to thrive and flourish? You know, is Hollywood Brown the best fit? I think they realize, hey, this is, kind of a one-trick pony, great deep threat, but this isn't the type of wide receiver we need to best utilize Lamar Jackson in this offense. So I think they cut bait. They get the 23rd pick. I think that's a great deal. And we saw it in the chat here. David saying, yeah, the Cards made the trade to make Kyler happy so they could resign him long-term. I think they're going to sign him long-term anyways. They picked up that option. They're going to give him all the money he wants. But I don't know. They'll let Christian Kirk go in free agency. He got paid from the Jags. Like, yeah, that's fine. But you bring back Hollywood Brown, Rondale Moore. Those two guys, stack them up together. It's like neither of them could ride the rides of Great America. Kyler Murray, very, very tiny dudes, but they can all fly. So it's going to be interesting to see what they could do. But, man, so for the picks being made, like you said, Verderam, not a sexy pick, but offensive guards being picked. It's not flashy. It's not the wide receivers, the quarterback, whatever, but you got to beef up that offensive line for Herbert. This guy's already a top 5 quarterback in the league. You got to keep him upright. Division.
Let me also say this. Treylon Burks is the pick to Tennessee. So he's the replacement. And I like Burks, by the way. He was one of my favorite guys.
Body type to A.J. Brown.
Right. So, yeah, big guy. Big guy, box guys out, run him over. I like Burks. I think he's going to be a good player. Now, I don't like it in comparison. Like, hey, we're going to trade away A.J. Brown for Treylon Burks. That feels aggressive. My father also chiming in. Kyler should ask the Cardinals to trade for a good second half.
A good second half of the season, because we've seen them start hot in the season, and then they go 2-8 or 1-7 in the second half of the schedule, and it's kind of been a trademark of Cliff Kingsbury teams, even going back to Texas Tech. But
by the way, if I'm the Chiefs, this is where I'd try to trade up and get Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah,
this is the move now. Like, as far as I know, the Saints have made their pick. They've traded away 1 million picks.
Yeah,
this would be the time.
Still don't have a quarterback.
Make a move up. Go make a move up. Give up a first and whatever the hell else, a third or whatever it would cost, and go up and get Jermaine Johnson. That to me is the move. I'm shocked he's still there. I am very, very surprised he's still there.
I thought he was going to go. I thought Jermaine Johnson had a chance to go 8 to the Falcons, maybe 10 to the Jets.
Some people thought he was going to go 4 to the Jets, which I think is high.
Yeah, that's a little rich, obviously, but yeah, from the Chiefs POV, if you're saying, hey, we're in the late teens, the 20th, maybe we could move up. You got the 2 1s. You don't need to give up both of them, but you give up one and some change to move up to get great value at, let's say pick number 20 to get a guy that could have gone top 10, fills a big need. I think that's a worthwhile gamble. I don't know. Would you take him over some of these wide receivers now that are still left on the board?
I think it's going to be Malik Willis. That's my guess.
By the
So
way,
Chiefs, they
AJ
have enough
Brown,
quarterbacks there.
AJ Brown just got 4 years, $100 million from the Eagles, 57 guaranteed.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did.
That's what Carm and I were saying. These guys are getting moved because they want to get paid, and their current team isn't going to pay them. 57 mil guaranteed. I mean, that's
It's less than Hill. It's less
Pretty
than
good.
Adams expectedly.
Price of tea in China.
Certainly a lot of money.
Let me just say this. I just got to get this out here as we get to pick 19. Multiple quarterbacks, that's more than one, have been picked in the top 10. It's from my guy Dan Wiederer. In each of the past 7 drafts. We are now at pick 19, not 1. It's historic in recent NFL what's going on in the QB positions, to state the obvious.
I think this is the latest we've had to wait for a quarterback to get picked since 2000 when Chad Pennington was like the 18th or 20th pick to the Jets. And the best quarterback that year went pick 199. Guy named Tom Brady, I think, had a pretty decent career.
He did all right.
Yeah, from Michigan, I believe. Can't remember.
That's the thing. Who the hell knows who it's going to be? But someone's going to have someone you're going to be is going to be like, oh, yeah, well, that guy was actually pretty damn good. Maybe it'll be Matt Corral, who scored a 15 on the Wonderlic. That interview is up at Stack in the Box, by the way. He explains how he failed the Wonderlic miserably and was he might have skipped a question, Schmitty. That's what he says. I don't want to give away the whole interview because
well, that's a tease. Now I want to find out. And it's fun. You see the Wonderlic, like it's online. You could get like the sample questions, whatever, and you do it. And it's like some of these questions are like, what are we even doing here? But it is kind of fun. It's like those standardized tests you take in high school and middle school and stuff like that. It's just like, this is how we're evaluating quarterbacks. Like, watch the damn games. Like, what are we doing here? Like, it's nuts. But
Chief meltdown in the chat going on right now, Verderam. 12 picks for one.
I wouldn't have a meltdown, but I think this is where if you want to trade up, I think this is now the area where you're going to do it. Like, they do not have to give up both firsts at this point. I would completely disagree with our good friend Mario here. Listen, 12 meaningless pick, but they got 12 picks. We're at pick number 19 in the draft. I mean, I
got a few more to go,
bro. You got to chill. Like, they drafted Creed Humphrey in the second round last year. It's okay.
Trey Smith in the 6th.
They'll be all right. Like Nick Bolton in the 2nd. It's okay. Yeah. Like I will argue forever, and I've been saying this for 2 months. The biggest need on the Chiefs is not receiver. It is the third biggest need on the team. Corner and edge are way bigger needs for the Chiefs. Mahomes and that offense is going to score points.
Yeah.
They need to replace their current edge situation, period. And they need to replace Travarius Ward. That's what they need to do. That's what they need to do.
If you could get a guy like George Karlaftis out of Purdue, I think he was a really great player at Purdue throughout his career, underrated nationally because it's Purdue, but played really well in some big-time games against some big-time competition. Going back last year, he was a guy that I had on my initial top 10 around this time last year. So this guy, maybe he falls to the Chiefs, if they don't move up, if Jermaine Johnson's probably not on the board at that time. He's a guy I would be excited about it. And we see some of the Arrowhead Dave. He's like, Karlaftis, please, multiple exclamation marks. So
the Saints have picked, and they've picked Trevor Penning, the tackle, Northern Iowa. So he is off the board. They needed to replace Teron Armstead, and that is their answer.
Yeah, he was a guy along with Zion Johnson who just went to the Chargers. A couple of guys that were maybe 2 months ago or so, they were that, fringe end of the first round, top 40 kind of guys. And we're seeing some of these offensive linemen, Kenyon Green, who went 15th to the Texans. Some of these offensive linemen now, we saw the upper crust with Ickey and Evan Neal and Cross go early. Now we're seeing that second tier go. So me as a Bears fan, I was kind of hoping some of these guys would slide down a little bit, not those names specifically, but offensive linemen in general. So they'd be able to use one of their second-round picks on an offensive lineman. And now I don't know if it's going to be worth it, and I don't know which wide receivers are going to be left on the board here either. So it might be desperate times and desperate measures for the Bears as we look at tomorrow night.
That was an unfortunate bring up by you, but it is very true. This is not going the way good old Ryan Poles and company wanted it to go. But that's okay, Schmidt. They've got a plan figured out over at Hallis Hall. They're never behind the 8 ball over there. So, do we think that we're going to have our first quarterback now? Pittsburgh, hello, it's got to be, right?
I think know, not after signing Mitchell Trubisky. I mean, they're locked up for the next decade plus. They got Big Ben's replacement. They are ready to go. Trubisky, I think Malik Willis. This is probably the time. We were talking all last year with Kenny Pickett, the Pitt guy. And the whole history there, passing on Dan Marino a lifetime ago, and they don't want to repeat history. You can't pass it on a Pitt quarterback, but I'm not comparing Kenny Pickett to Dan Marino. Please don't flame me in the chat or anything like that. But, if I'm deciding between Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett, I would roll the dice on the upside with Malik Willis just because I don't see there's any upside with Kenny Pickett.
They really liked him quite a bit. I mean, they really did at the Senior Bowl. I mean, that was like the worst kept secret in Mobile. So, it's going to be. By the way, Jeffrey Simmons tweets out, "Wait, this bet not be true," and then Fletcher Cox quote tweeted it. It was like, "It sure is." little D-line on D-line crime there on Twitter over the AJ Brown trade. But no, I think this is going to be a quarterback for Pittsburgh. I mean, really, what else?
Let's bring in our guy from the Steel Curtain, Tommy Jaggy's with us here. Tommy, thank you for making time, brother. You're on the clock. We're speculating it's Malik. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think it's Malik Willis. I think that's the guy the Steelers have been the most interested in from day one back at the Senior Bowl. We saw how much Tomlin and Colbert were infatuated with him and his family. They took him out to dinner. They met with him at several points this offseason. And so that has been the guy from day one. And I think that that's going to be the guy that they go with right here. They put all their eggs in that basket. I think it's a quarterback, and I think it's Willis.
I think it's interesting that they didn't panic at all. Just let it fall. No quarterbacks taken. We'll just sit here. People are moving up. We're hanging stronger. So they liked him, maybe even loved him, and just showed great patience, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they didn't force the issue. They've done it in the past. They traded up in 2019. They jumped in from 20 to 10 to get Devin Bush, a guy that they really liked. And so it wouldn't have shocked me one bit if the Steelers were willing to jump up for Willis this year. But it's something that they decided not to do. And again, assuming that's the pick, which I would think that it is, like I said, the Steelers have spent all of their resources scouting quarterbacks this offseason to the point where they've neglected other positions in the process. And so I think that this has to be a quarterback.
Schmitty, are you listening here? Don't they know that? I'm going to take your point. Don't they know, Tommy, that Mitchell Trubisky's ready to be a 5-year starter? You don't need no Malik Willis.
Before I head out of here, if Malik Willis is the pick,
it's not Malik Willis.
No? Okay.
Well,
there goes the hypothetical.
Right church, wrong pew. Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett? There we go. Okay. So let me ask you this then. How many games is Kenny Pickett starting his rookie year?
That's a question. This is one that it was hard for me to make sense of. You're drafting a quarterback who turns 24 years old in June. You've got a guy that's 3 years older than him on the roster right now, and Mitch Trubisky, that was a Pro Bowler, former second overall pick. And so the Kenny Pickett one, yeah. So the Kenny Pickett one, it's a bit of a head scratcher for me. I don't think it's the best fit. I know everybody, Steeler fans are going to be happy about it. Pitt fans are going to be happy about it. I don't think that Kenny Pickett has a great arm. And something that needs to be considered as well is the NFL season plays much longer. We play into late December, into January. And so how are those 8-inch hands, 8.25-inch hands going to do in that cold weather? We'll see. I know we played at Heinz Field the last 5 years. Something interesting. I did not see Steelers going this route. Honestly, I really thought it was Willis.
I hate that pick. I do not.
I get that.
Go for the upside. You already have a little bit of security. If Kenny Pickett hits, what is he? Mitch Trubisky? That's a little too.
You're hoping for. Some people say Derek Carr. I just don't see it with the arm talent I feel like he's going to fall honestly closer in the Andy Dalton, Daniel Jones level of quarterback, but that's just me.
Yeah, and it's also me too. I agree. I think very limited upside, limited physical ability. I mean, he's an advanced age prospect with limited upside. I don't like the pick at all, and I guess that's where I'm going to leave it. And maybe I'll be able to be fortunate enough to join you guys later. But this has been an awesome chat, and enjoy the rest of the draft, guys. I'll see you later.
Schmitty, you're the man. Come back if you have time.
Yeah, well, see you guys.
See you later.
How do you think this went down in Steelerville here, Tommy? How did it come to be?
I'm going to tell you the fan base is going to be split on this. And I mean, it's very evident from what you see on social media. There are the Yinzer fans who are going to love this pick because they followed Kenny Pickett the last 5 years at Pitt, and they wanted to see that Cinderella story, that transition right to the Steelers. I'm not crazy about it. Like I said, I agree with you, Matt. You go with the upside here, and I do not think that was an upside pick whatsoever. I think you're getting an is what it is type of quarterback, and I'm not thrilled about it. I had Pickett at 48 on my board. He was actually my quarterback 5, and so I hope he proves me wrong. I want him to. I don't want to be right in this instant, but I do feel like you've got a division that consists of Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Deshaun Watson, and your answer is a 24-year-old rookie in Kenny Pickett who had one good season.
Right, and you're talking about. I mean, this is a guy. He had one good year out of 5. Like he was there for 5 years.
Not only that, go back to his high school seasons. There wasn't a good season in high school either. So
it feels like the kind of pick where you're like, well, we can make him what we think he could be. When it's like, well, yeah, but he's never been that ever.
Exactly.
Willis may be a total bust. I would have taken him in a heartbeat over him over Pickett. The upside's so much higher. It's so much higher.
Hey, Tommy, you get guest of the night for being able to reference how Pickett did in high school. That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's going deep right there.
I've spent way too much time on the quarterbacks this year, and now I'm a little bit disappointed, I've got to say, but not that I would have been thrilled with any of the options this year. I just don't think it was a good quarterback class. I really, really think you've got all 5 sitting on the board. In my mind, nothing separates them all that much. Trade back, get one in the second round if you're really convinced that you want to get a developmental guy, whatever. I hope that Pickett is the guy. I hope he can compete. And maybe the Steelers' philosophy is let's just get a guy in here that can manage the game, play good defense, and try to be competitive and keep our head above water.
Oh boy. Yeah, no, listen, I mean, is Kenny Pickett right now better than Ben Roethlisberger was last year? I think you could probably make that argument. But that's why you went out and got good old Mitch. You said Pro Bowl with Mitch. You sound like you're optimistic about Trubisky coming over there.
I mean, I'm not overly optimistic. I don't think that anybody should be. I'm more of a realist, and so I think that Trubisky could give them something. I think he's a really good fit in Matt Canada's offense. And I think he looked good in the preseason with Buffalo, but that's about all that we have to go off. And the biggest flaw with Trubisky for me is he just lacks big play ability. Like he's an athlete. Yep. He's got a decent arm. Just not a big play quarterback. I think he's going to be a guy that can come in, manage the game. I think he'll be very serviceable, but not a guy that you want to put all your eggs in that basket with either.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Tommy, good stuff, man. Thanks for jumping on. Appreciate it. Good luck. Steel Curtain. Check it out, Steelers fans. Tommy, appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks.
All right, we move along here. Verderam, it's getting more and more interesting by the minute here. As
now we're to the 20s here. New England's on the clock. Pick number 21, followed by the Packers, the Ravens, who got into the round again with the trade of Marquise Brown, and then Dallas. Those are the next 4 picks coming up. Jermaine Johnson's the guy right now that is falling. Now, look, New England could take him. Then they have Judon. I don't know that it makes all the sense in the world, but Belichick loves that front. I mean, he's another guy who likes to draft in the front. Green Bay could take him. Green Bay could absolutely take him. Zadarius Smith is gone. They need an edge rusher. Look, this is getting interesting now. But Karlaftis and you still have Boye Mafe out there. You still, which I think is expected. He's probably late first. Jermaine Johnson. I think the Chiefs are going to have some options. Certainly, by the way, a corner McDuffie's still there. Gordon is still there. Dax Hill, who's kind of a hybrid corner safety, still there. So I think the board's falling all right. I really do. If you're a Chiefs fan, I think it's falling just fine. But depending upon, of course, who you like and who you want, and that's fine, fair enough. But the Chiefs should have some options here, I think, no matter what.
I believe we've got Liam McEwen from the Big Lead and the Press Pass podcast, and he's got his Patriots. Oh my God, is that a Mac Jones?
Mac 10.
Oh my God, he went. You paid for Mac Jones. Wow,
And I did
Liam,
so happily.
and you did so happily. All right, Liam, what are they going to do here? Tell us, take us inside the Patriots.
Well, it's the Patriots, so a trade down is extremely likely, especially with the way that the board is falling, like Matt was describing, with you got Jermaine Johnson tumbling down there. You still got guys like Dax Hill. You even got George Karlaftis.
And they are trading back.
And they are trading
To the
back.
Chiefs. There you go.
I told
Kansas
everybody
City.
I was coming on this live stream, and everybody would see my reaction to us trading back. So
There you go. The
I'm not
Chiefs
super
are on the
surprised.
clock.
We got the details yet?
We
Chiefs
don't. The Chiefs are on the clock. They have traded up from either 21 to 30, depending on what pick they gave up. I would think this is an edge rusher. Now, it could be a corner. It could even be a receiver. It will certainly be one of those three positions, unless something is insane at Arrowhead. So we shall see. But Kansas City has moved up, as New England, as you mentioned, so often they move back. And they've done it once more here. They'll move back at least. Let's see. It looks like, according at least to the ticker, that New England goes to 29. So it looks like they got the earlier of the two Chiefs picks. Now let's see how it all shakes. So
our guy Patrick Allen out of prison. It looks like that's a jail behind him right there. You called it in the chat, buddy. I didn't know if you were kidding or not, but I guess you felt it. So congrats, buddy.
Yep. If I'm the Chiefs, this is Jermaine Johnson all day and half of the night. I mean, that would be an incredible pick for Kansas City. I mean, there were people literally who thought he was a top 5 pick.
Well, those people were kind of crazy. I don't know about
those
that.
people were nuts. But he was, I think, a borderline top 10. Probably should have gone around 9 to 10, in my opinion. Yeah, he shouldn't have been a top 5 pick. But I saw their talk of 4. And regardless, he's well beyond where people thought he would go. The pick's already in for the Chiefs. That took about 5 seconds. And we will see here shortly which way they go.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Johnson, right? I mean, that's
by the way, the Chiefs gave up 29, a third, and I believe it's the fourth, 121. Yeah, so they swapped first, gave up a third and a fourth. So the Chiefs still have a third, they still have a fourth, they still have another first, they have 2 seconds. So they use some ammo, and the Pats pick up a couple of mid-round picks and slide back 8 spots.
Yep, that sounds about right for Bill Belichick and co. I can't wait for him to take somebody I've literally never heard of who was projected to go in the late 6th round with that 3rd round pick.
By the way,
Bill loves to move around the board.
Bears Twitter is having a field day.
The Chiefs are going with a corner. It is Trent McDuffie, corner for the Chiefs. So they replaced Charvarius Ward with a corner out of Washington. Now, listen, here's the thing with McDuffie. He's a very good cover corner. He is small, which is surprising with the Chiefs because the Chiefs typically like a little bit of a bigger corner, but they go with McDuffie. My guess is they probably figured, like Buffalo, the thought is that they'd go corner. Dallas could go corner. With Diggs, you think they probably wouldn't have gone that way. But they land a corner. So they fill one. To me, the biggest needs on the team are corner and edge. They fill one of them. I think they should have gone with Jermaine Johnson, frankly. But I was saying all night they needed those 2 spots. Well, they picked up one of them.
The chat is on fire. This is just enjoyable to watch. Yes. Patrick, what do you think?
It's I'm surprised. I thought for sure that this was the Jermaine Johnson pick. It seemed to make it just all fell into place for the Chiefs to get the edge rusher. Look, this is according to NFL.com, this is their 2nd ranked cornerback from their scouts at NFL.com on their prospect list in the draft. So if you believe that, then it's a slam dunk great pick for the Chiefs. My concern, of course, though, is the lack of pass rush that Kansas City has. We all know that a good, strong pass rush makes things easier on your cornerbacks. And so you can have, maybe not elite cornerbacks, but good, solid cornerbacks back there. And you're getting to the quarterback and they're able to hold up in coverage. So it's just going to come down to how good is this guy and what is Brett Veach's plan for the pass rush. Maybe he knows something about Jermaine Johnson that we don't. Maybe he thinks he's going to be there. Maybe he's going to look at George Karlaftis. There's a plan in place here, and this was their guy. This was obviously their guy, so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But Chiefs fans are going to be livid because I think on the top of their list was pass rusher, followed by
rightfully so
and corner.
See, I will say again, look, I think pass rush is easily the biggest thing that they needed. But I've also said for me, easily number 2, easily is corner. Like I don't care. They're going to score 1 million points. They have Mahomes and 1 million guys who can catch the ball in that offensive line. Like they needed edge rush, and they need a corner. Well, look, they get the corner. Now, I am surprised they didn't go edge rusher, but I'm also not upset with the fact they drafted Trent McDuffie. Like they needed, who's the third corner right now on that team? Like before McDuffie, DeAndre Baker? That is not a way to live, folks. Not in the AFC with 1 million guys. I don't look the size of McDuffie. He's a 5'11" guy. I don't love the size. They have a couple of corners who are bigger, but he's a very good cover corner. He started for 3 years at Washington. I'm surprised it wasn't Jermaine Johnson. I mean, in full disclosure, but I'm also not upset with the fact they took a corner. I think frankly, they desperately needed one. So I'm not killing it.
11 starts as a freshman. He's 5'11" with cleats on. And I saw one comment in the chat. We drafted a baby, which was definitely funny because he looks very tiny. You drafted baby Carm, and he's going to go out there and cover everybody, and you're going to win the Super Bowl. Damn it! I feel hurt because you guys had me so excited. And that you were doing like the perfect move at Jermaine Johnson, and no, it's Trent McDuffie. Okay, but I get it. They need a corner, whatever.
It just shows you how useful all those mock drafts are. All that analysis everybody spent the last 6 months doing. We don't know shit at the end of the day.
That was another comment in there. Like, I'm glad that I listened to 200 hours of mock draft podcast, so I could be so none of it would add up.
Yeah.
Well,
the Packers, by the way, everybody in the world thought edge or receiver. They took a linebacker, Quay Walker. Off the board.
Oh my God! Somebody get me Aaron Rodgers on the phone immediately.
Aaron Rodgers is ready to kill everyone involved. But
half a bottle in already. He's finishing that bottle of tequila, boys. I mean, come on.
Liam, you want to pop off and come back on when the Pats are back on the clock?
I look forward to doing this all again when they trade back later this night.
All right. Well, thank you for hanging around.
Yeah,
Liam,
I'll catch you in a half hour or so.
We'll see you in a bit, brother. Thanks, Liam. Good stuff.
I got to say, I wonder, and I hope it's not the case. Jermaine Johnson at this point has fallen far enough. I think it's a fair question. Like, is there like a medical thing? I mean, sometimes that happens with these guys where, it's not like something awful or like career, but you do wonder, like, is there a medical concern? I mean, is there something? Because for him to fall as far as he's fallen, it's surprising. Now, again, Patrick, I mean, where are you on the? Are you on the? You're cool with McDuffie, or you're ready to kill everyone involved because they didn't take Jermaine Johnson?
No, I'm good. Look, this was a major need for this team. And if they think that he can step in and start right away, which according to his NFL.com grade, that's what they say, year one starter. And the Chiefs needed to fill that. And if they like other pass rushers, if there's a couple of these guys, remember Boye Mafe, some other guys that people kind of like, that if the Chiefs stay put in the back end of the first round, and maybe if Brett Veach is looking at it from a value perspective, he really likes this pick. and he really likes a couple of the guys that should still be available late in the first round. He still has number 30 back there. So, you know, if you're looking at it from Brett Veach's perspective, he's got to have a starting cornerback. And if he likes one of those edge rushers in the value at the end of the first round, then it's a good first round for the Chiefs.
By
size,
the way, Buffalo just moved up to 23 from 25.
Oh.
And if they take Jermaine Johnson, this chat is going to go insane.
Yeah. It won't be pleasant.
I will say, you know, it'd be interesting. It'd be kind of weird. I've seen some Bills fans say that. The only thing that makes it odd is you would think like they just paid Von Miller $120 million and they drafted 2 edge rushers in the first 2 rounds last year.
Yeah.
It feels like corner is a much, much bigger need for them. They need a corner to replace Levi Wallace. They need, I mean, frankly, if you're the Bills, you need a receiver. Like other than Diggs, who the hell do you have?
My favorite comment in the last 10 is Gonzo, who's all in on the pick. Gonzo, I see you, buddy. You're the most loyal, and you believe. Gonzo believes. Damn it!
By the way, the last time the Chiefs took a corner from Washington, anybody remember who it was? Marcus Peters.
Oh, that worked out okay for
a couple years,
for a bit. Yeah,
yeah, worked out fine until things kind of went AWR. So the Chiefs are not afraid to take a corner out of Washington.
It's one of these things. It's difficult to know until you see how it all comes together.
You don't know. You don't know. Like that. That's one thing. Look,
that's not true. You, Verram, Patrick, you two know. That's why people are tuning in. You both know. Damn it. Let's go. Nobody or not.
You look. I'll say this. If you're really excited about the pick, God bless you. Okay, good. And if you're not, and you're furious, like you can be furious, but I would tell you, like you just don't know. You have no idea. Jermaine Johnson might be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He might be on 3 teams in 5 years. The same's true of McDuffie. Like McDuffie might be a guy who ends up being a great player, or he might end up being a guy who stinks. Like, you don't know how it's going to shake. So I think sometimes you have to keep in mind, like you don't know what you don't know. Like you at least you should try to know what you don't know. But a lot of times you don't know how these things are going to shake. Nobody. You don't know. I mean, hell. Trayvon Walker is the first pick. I don't know if he's going to be any damn good. Who knows? Like, historically speaking, 50% of these guys are busts. 50% of them.
Bills are going corner from Florida. Kaiir Elam.
Okay, that makes sense. They need that. I mean, they need a corner, so that makes a lot of sense.
Let me tell you the one time that I did know. It wasn't in the NFL, but I did know, damn it, that Derrick Rose was going to be amazing until he wasn't. I was betting my life on that damn thing because that was. But all right, I get it. It's a crapshoot, and you're down. You're even. We're late in the first round, and even at the top of the draft, you know, are we really sure that Sauce is going to be a star for the Jets? I'm not. I guess everybody else is sold on it, but
you know. In taking a professional, you know, someone who does this for a living, scouts these guys into account, you know, I bring up the NFL.com guy, Lance Zierlein. His grade for McDuffie was a 6.7. His grade for Sauce Gardner was a 6.72. There's a huge gulf between the two of them in his estimation. Sauce Gardner, Trent McDuffie, to Derek Stingley Jr., who was rated 6.5. So, and I've been kind of following along at the rankings on NFL.com with the draft. And if you take a look at them, they match up sort of well. So, you know, take that for what it is. These are people who do this for a living. They study these players throughout the course of the offseason. Brett Veach may be seeing something similar. And in this corner, we may look back at this pick and say, hey, it was a steal.
I just don't think you can get that worked up about it. To me, they needed a now. If they had taken like if they had gone with the Florio pick in his mock draft and taken a guard, yeah, my head would have exploded.
Yeah,
took a corner. Like you need a corner, man. I am surprised it wasn't Johnson, but I'll tell you what. I mean, there have been a lot of teams that could have taken a pass rusher that have not taken Jermaine Johnson for whatever the reason. I mean, it could simply be bad luck. It could be a medical thing. It could be an interview thing. Who knows? But right now, to me, They came into tonight with two massive issues. One, edge, they have not addressed. Two, corner. I mean, to me, they filled one of those needs. Trent McDuffie was not expected to be there for the Chiefs at 29. So they went up, they get the guy. He probably's gone to Buffalo if he's still sitting there, or at least there's a very good chance. Obviously, it just took a corner. So now if you're the Chiefs, you either sit there at 30 and wait. And by the way, not the worst spot to be in the world. There's a kid out of Penn State who's the edge rusher people think is a first-round talent. Mafe, Karlaftis, and Jermaine Johnson. Pretty good shot. One of those guys is going to be sitting there. I mean, you could be in a hell of a lot worse spot right now, in my opinion, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, McDuffie's a good cover corner, really good cover corner in college, but he's smaller. All right, well, Chiefs have some bigger corners. It's not the end of the world.
I texted resident Chief fan at Get Nick Wright, and his reaction is that he has no idea if this is a good pick or not.
This is the exact reaction. Everybody should.
I love when people are honest like that. You know, like I don't. You know,
he's like, I'm watching the draft, have no idea,
right?
And neither does anyone else. To your points, for the record.
Yeah.
So, all right, hey, Ben Heisler's here. Patrick, you want to stick? You want to go?
No, I'll dip. I'll come back for 30.
Okay. All right. We'll see you at 30.
Yeah.
Thanks, Patrick. Most level-headed Chiefs fan going. And here comes Ben Heisler. Also, our resident gambling, bet-sided superstar back in his cave with his plasma. Heis, did you make any money tonight over there, buddy?
I did. Had
There
a
you
few go my way. Got a tip a little bit earlier on in the day for the Carolina Panthers to take an offensive lineman with their pick. That was floated to me at even money, but I was able to still get it at minus 120. And a few others that I do not remember at this very moment. I will tell you in about 5 seconds. I did not win with Kayvon Thibodeau. I thought that there was some value. He was at 1 point plus 140 to go number 2. I think he closed the night at minus 150. So yeah, those two on the NFL draft so far, and there might be a few others along the way.
What's your biggest takeaway, biggest surprise, biggest reaction? Go.
Kenny Pickett to Pittsburgh. Like the whole Malik Willis fawning over him for the last 3 months was the biggest smoke screen of all smoke screens. And now you have Mitchell Trubisky getting his Mike Glennon moment where he's brought in as the free agent. The team takes a quarterback in the first round. Like what's that line from True Detective? Like life is like a flat circle. It's 100% true. And now that whole thing just gets completely turned around.
By the way, to put a quick cap, just because I know so many Chief fans are watching, I put a quick cap on McDuffie. So I pulled up his relative athletic score, which for those who aren't familiar with it, it's a rating from 1 to 10, 10 being the best. He rated a 9.48.
Wow.
Corners, every corner from 1987 to today, there's 2,001 corners in the database. That ranked 106.
Wow.
So he's pretty damn athletic.
There you go, Chiefs fans. I was just going to say that there's not one person in Pittsburgh and or Pennsylvania that wants Mitchell Trubisky to ever play a down.
Oh, but he's gonna.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's gonna.
You know, he will. He will. And
they're going to accept that into their hearts. He's gonna.
We'll see about that.
Do you think
We'll
Pittsburgh
see.
would give an open competition? I know they signed him, but would they? I mean, obviously he's going to go in tops on the depth chart, but do they give Pickett an opportunity to actually win the job?
It wouldn't surprise me. Dude's already 24 years old. I don't know. I mean, you know, hey, Mitch, you're our starter, but if you suck in camp and this guy's good, that could change in a second. That's what Mitch hasn't earned the right that he's definitely the starter. That wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. Run on defensive players earlier. That didn't surprise you, Heis? Running receivers in the middle, the trades.
No, all of them surprised me. I think I failed on the question, Carm, because I thought you were asking me about like the biggest surprise draft pick, but I mean, Hollywood Brown goes for a first, and then AJ Brown goes for a first and a third. And I'm trying to figure, other than Steve Keim bringing the Oklahoma connection together, I mean, am I nuts? I would have AJ Brown up here and then Hollywood Brown substantially lower. The fact that they were both first-round picks involved was fairly shocking to me. Verder, I don't know if you agree with that or not.
I do. I said earlier on the stream, the Hollywood Brown thing to me, it cuts two ways. So one way is, I think the trade value for the Ravens is great. Like, the Cardinals traded a first and a third for a guy who's been good once. Now, the flip side of that is the Ravens could trot the three of us out in 11 personnel right now, and you wouldn't know the difference. So I'm assuming they will draft a receiver here. But, I mean, who are they going to take that you're just in love with? Is it Pickens, who is a burner, a guy who can get down the field? I mean, but I don't know. Like, I like to trade for the Ravens. I do overall, but it's like, if you're Lamar, it's like that GIF right on Twitter, right, where like the guy just looking around the empty house, like where the hell, like where's everybody? It's kind of how I feel at this point.
Yeah, and to that point, you can't go in if you're going to go and take Pickens here. I suppose you can go with the upside, but Rashad Bateman missed a lot of time last year, and granted he was a first round pick, but are you tying that wagon? I get that they're going to be running anyway, but it just feels like a far too risky of a play. I think that doesn't seem like the front office that would make that kind of play on Pickens this early. You know what I mean?
You guys communicate for 1 second. I'll be right back.
Sure. So right now, look, let's reset here for a second. So right now, we got Dallas, who just turned in the card apparently. So they're picking 24. Then we have the Ravens, who traded back from 23. Then you have the Titans, and then Tampa and Green Bay. So those are the next four picks, with the Pats, Chiefs, Bengals, and Vikings closing out the round. Heisler, your thoughts on the Cowboys here and what you think they might do?
Doesn't this feel like if Jermaine Johnson's lasted this long, that
Sure
Jerry's going to go out and get that guy? It has to, right? Like, Jerry's paid attention to media coverage. And
that's all Jerry paid attention to.
So, and this was a guy that was at one point a projected top 5 pick. I'd love to know the backstory behind I don't know where you had him initially. But I figured he'd be top 12,
around 10, around 10.
Yeah, I would take him top. I would have taken I didn't take an under.
Now it's interesting.
Like Jermaine.
Now that Charles Robinson of Yahoo, who's a terrific reporter and a nice guy, he says he just I'm paraphrasing. Oh, here I found it. From an exec, Jermaine Johnson isn't sliding. The media had him overvalued. Good player, not elite. Needs the right personality fit too, which is interesting. The last part of that. They took the Cowboys. Tyler Smith from Tulsa, tackle. That is surprising. The Cowboys taking a guy who you haven't really heard that much about. Because they must have locked Jerry out of the room for the last 5 minutes. That's not the way Jerry doesn't. It's not the way Jerry rolls. Now the Ravens, you've got to think this would be a receiver, right? I mean, that would make the most sense.
I would think so. I'm trying to, look up the different guys that remain available. You mentioned Pickens.
You've got Pickens. You've got Christian Watson if he catches your fancy. I know he's kind of polarizing with some people. So you have those two guys sitting there. I feel like there's another guy I'm like obviously blanking.
So there's Watson, Sky Moore out of Western
Sky Moore.
Michigan.
That's what. Okay, thank you. Yes.
So, but I mean, again, all these guys had been projected maybe at the very end of the first round, certainly second round selections.
Yep.
I'm surprised. And by the way, I believe if another wide receiver goes, I have to double check this as well. There have been how many wide receivers taken so far? It looks like I think there's 6. Which is not good for my under 6.5 wide receiver play. I know
you might lose that one.
It's not going to go well for your guy. And especially I had another one where the Patriots plus 325 to take a wide receiver. Especially moving back where they did, unless there's just no run, that could be an issue for them as well.
So this will be interesting to play out because now, all right, so we got the Ravens on the clock. Pick 25. Now, we just talked about the fact it's receiver. If it's not a receiver, now they took a safety already, so they're not going to go secondary. They took Owe out of Penn State last year off the edge. Could they take another edge rusher? It's possible. Baltimore's always been a team that wins in the trenches.
Dean Johnson.
That's the guy.
I mean, I don't know. That's my guess, Heis. That's what makes most sense to me.
The Diener?
I think it could be the Diener. You think it's the Diener? Nakobe Deaner? Come on. Patrick Schmidt's yelling for Nakobe Dean.
It would make sense. Again, like it's kind of to what Verderame said. You kind of know the MO of Baltimore at this point. Now, did they move on from Wink Martindale at defensive coordinator?
Yeah, they did. He's with the Giants now.
So he's with the Giants. So the need to have a ton of guys coming off the edge, the way that Martindale used them may not necessarily be as high of a priority now. But I mean, Baltimore blitzed more than anybody last year.
I can see, by the way, to answer a few, because I've seen a lot of people asking about the edge rushers for KC, and I'll address it. I know not everybody here is KC fan. A lot of you are. Look, I don't know if Karlaftis will get there or not, but I would tell you this. You're looking at now a situation where there's going to be a couple edge rushers there. I mean, one way or the other. You got Mafe, you got Karlaftis, you've got Jermaine Johnson. The kid out of Penn State, last name is escaping me for a second.
Ebiketie,
thank you. So I mean, you got a lot of guys at this point. By the way, Mr. Schwump says dudes off the street can make the same observation, sir. I am a dude off the street, sir, and you're watching me talk, so that seems to be a you problem. But thank you, regardless.
I love Mr. Schwump. That's my guy.
The man's honest.
You keep firing, buddy. Every one of them hurts, buddy. Every single time.
You just keep hanging out with us, buddy. So now we got Baltimore picking. I'm very curious to see, do they feel the pressure to add a receiver after moving on from Marquise Brown? Or do they say, look, you know what? We took Bateman last year in the first. We're gonna stick true to kind of who we are and go in the trenches, whether that be an old lineman, could be an old lineman. I mean, they've had some turnover there as well in recent years. Ronnie Stanley hasn't been healthy. Marshall Yonder retired. I know they brought in Kevin Zeitler. But there's a case to be made there. But the Ravens are always a team. Linderbaum's another guy a lot of people love. Interior offensive lineman. So let's see. But the Ravens have a lot of options. They're still on the clock. I mean, almost 3 minutes now as the clock counts down.
Just wanted on record that I'm gonna have to out myself here. We've had our first beer spillage of the night. It was very upsetting. It's a bad job by me. For bad coordination, bad focus, bad everything.
What's your go-to tonight, Carm? Are you representing the fine city of Chicago, or you go something domestic?
I had a 3-1-2. That is no longer in play, and I did not strategize well here. So the only thing that's left in the fridge is Michelob Ultra, which has been in that fridge for 14 years. So I think we're going back to Body Armor Light, which is a great. They sponsored a bunch of our interviews, so thank you to Body Armor for making me feel good. And when I get home tonight, Heist, I might hit up a. I got some Spotted Cow after the trip up to Milwaukee last night to see the Bulls get eliminated. So that was a good stop at the gas station on the way back home. Thank you very much.
Spotted Cow out of it.
Yeah, exactly right.
Ravens, by the way, 2 minutes on the clock here. Still waiting to see who they decide to make the 25th overall pick, assuming they make it and they don't trade out of it.
I got to say, the biggest surprise for me tonight is that the incredible, consistent, constant performance, trumping everybody. Albert Breer has been, I think this might be his best draft performance ever. This guy's been nailing it all night long. Schefter, out the door. Rappaport, nothing. Breer, tonight, 2022. Anybody, and no arguments. The guy's been amazing.
He has done a hell of a job.
Yeah. Although if Sports Illustrated starts doing a live coverage of the draft, Breer's not tweeting out those picks early either.
That's right. That's right.
Good point, Ben. He's got an edge. I hear you. Maybe.
Listen, do I think I worked with
Linderbaum to the Ravens.
Yeah. Okay. And here's the other thing too, like they're drafting 13th in the second round. So the idea that a wide receiver isn't going to be available for them at that point is also like more and more likely as the bottom of the first round continues. So unless someone else gets sniped at the end of this round, there might be a few guys in the early portion, but Baltimore can still get a very good wide receiver in the second, possibly even the third with the type of depth that they have this year.
Where are my Hawkeye fans? Anybody want to sing "In Heaven There Is No Beer" and or the fight song? Because I'll do it right now. I'll go right into it. Just need somebody on the chat who wants to hear it. Heisler, you know the tune? No?
I don't.
That's unfortunate.
I don't. Where's your guy? Is your guy Keegan Murray going to fall to the Bulls?
That's an outside shot right there. All the way to 18? I don't think so, no.
Right. So,
yes, Matt.
Tennessee.
He brought up
I'm not letting you get into the Bulls. Nobody gives a shit. So we got 26, Tennessee. Now, there's a team that they just traded away A.J. Brown. But they drafted Treylon Burks. You look at their needs, they don't need edge rush. They don't need a front four piece. They could go offensive line for sure. You wouldn't think they'd double down a receiver. That would seem insane. There's no tight ends worthy at this spot. Do the Titans, I have been banging this drum for the last month. Do they take a quarterback?
Woof!
Tennessee take a quarterback.
That'd be interesting. By the way, I do have some Iowa City people in here who do know the song "In Heaven There Is No Beer." That's why we drink it here. And when we're all gone from here, our friends will be drinking all the beer. That might be a perfect landing spot for Malik.
Not going to be. The Jets just moved up.
Wow.
The Jets involved at 25. Could be an edge rusher for them.
Who did they just trade to move up? They already gave up the 32.
They had
second-round
so
picks.
many stockpiled anyway that they'll figure it out.
46 back in play here. All right.
Well, no, the Jets moved up. They have 2 second-round picks.
Yeah, I understand. I think one of the picks that they got earlier tonight was 46. I want to say.
No, that was the Lions and Vikings. You're thinking
the Lions. Okay,
the Jets didn't trade earlier today.
Yeah. Okay. My bad. I just jetted the Lions and Lion the Jets.
So, no, look, the Jets need a ton of shit. Okay. I mean, let's just put that out. Let's put the cards on the table. But they could certainly go edge, defensive-minded head coach. They could even go linebacker. Gotta get Devin Lloyd. I mean, they could do that. That wouldn't be crazy. They took a corner, took a receiver. Could go O-line. They could take a tackle if they don't think Mekhi Becton is going to be there for long. But I would think edge rush. But there's a lot of options here for the Jets.
Well, edge rusher was in play for them at the beginning of the draft, right?
Yeah.
Like that was the initial thought for them that somebody would fall, whether it be a Thibodeau. There was that rumor that Hutchins could possibly fall to them at 4. And you move up again to this point. You've already addressed 2 key areas.
By the way,
I think edge rusher makes a lot of sense.
On an aside, Lamar Jackson just tweeted out, "What the fuck?"
That's awesome. You got to stand up for your guy.
Not happy.
Jermaine Johnson looks like it's going to be the pick here.
It should be. A lot of people thought he was going to be their pick at 4 or 10. So that would make sense if you're the Jets. I mean, why not?
Jets traded the 35, 69, 163 for the 26 and the 101 for the record. And you're right. WTF from Lamar Jackson, which is in one minute has 7,500 likes and 3,000 retweets.
Players have more capital than they ever have, especially with a direct connection to the fan base. Like it matters. It matters what your players feel about your draft. It matters if you keep them in communication or not. Like there's a lot of questions will be framed around this now, and the Ravens have to be prepared for it.
By the way, Heist, the Jets will have as many first-round picks tonight as the Bears have had since 2017 from our friend Kevin Fishbane.
I mean, they hoarded a bunch of them. I'm glad that they're finally putting some to halfway decent use. It's been a solid draft for the Jets so far. I think they're very happy with the picks that ended up falling to them. Wouldn't you guys agree?
I would. I think Baltimore's had a great draft, haven't they? Hamilton and Linderbaum. I mean, top guys at their positions.
Yeah,
No?
Nice draft by them. I mean, obviously, look, now you got to replace the receiver, but I mean, yeah, overall, yeah, they've had a nice draft.
Hamilton's such a good fit. Like, it's just it
he
feels like a Ravens pick, doesn't it?
Yep, totally agree. I think the Ravens are one of the best teams there is at staying true to who they are.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Now, it'll be interesting. So, all right, so you got Jermaine Johnson. He finally goes. He goes to the Jets at 26, who have added now Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, and Jermaine Johnson. So, on the surface, at least, I'm sure, a very nice draft. They'll get plenty of good grades. The New York teams doing nice work tonight. You can't beat what they've done, and they need it because both those teams have been in the doldrums for a while. Now you have Tampa, the Packers, the Pats, the Chiefs. Those are the next 4 picks. So heavy hitters.
Have you seen the video of Trent McDuffie getting drafted yet, Verderam?
No.
Because it's incredible. I just retweeted it from the NFL account. It is a very, very sweet, nice moment, and they were having a hell of a party there. I guess that's what happens on draft nights, but I don't know. I get sucked into that stuff. That looked like a really nice party.
I'm trying to think with Tampa.
Look at
Tampa. Who you would? They don't need edge. They could go D tackle. I mean, they could do that. Sue's a free agent.
Why don't you ask your guy Josh Hill what he?
They just need another Super Bowl. That's what they need.
There you go.
They're going to get this year
everybody needs another Super Bowl.
Hill. Bucks on the clock. Josh Hill, resident Bucks extravaganza. Let's go.
Who do you want, Hill?
Bernard, I'm with you. I'm struggling to see what they need because it's such a win now thing with Brady. They're in such an interesting spot where it's like you're not really drafting for the future.
Oh, they just traded
you're
their
just
pick.
trying to find guys to fill in. There we go.
They picked to Jacksonville. So screw you, Hill. You're out. Round to Josh Hill, the quickest appearance of all time. Hill comes in, and the Tampa saw that and immediately moved out. So
that's right. They know it's good for them. They're just trading back, compiling some picks.
God, I'm not even going to guess who Jacksonville's taking because it's Jacksonville. Like, this is like a God only knows pick. Like, it's going to be anything imaginable.
Well,
maybe they get their tackle now.
Hill, you're going nowhere until you give us the top three Josh Hill takeaways from tonight. Go. Let's hear them.
The Eagles had the best first round pick because they drafted AJ Brown essentially, and that's just absolutely insane. Like you don't get much better than that. That's just wild. Plus they got Jordan Davis too, so they trade up and everybody's making fun of them because they're like, "Oh, you can't believe you traded up after the wide receiver run," and then they end up with the best wide receiver of the bunch. So that was just insane.
Strong. It's a good day over there. Well, who do you think is the biggest loser tonight?
I don't know. I mean, Mitchell Trubisky, because I remember last time I was on with you and Ben, we talked about the Mitchell Trubisky redemption tour that was going to happen, and it looks like it's going to be the Kenny Pickett show. So that's Mitchell Trubisky catching a stray on draft night.
It's 20.
Hopefully, you turned all the TVs off in Pittsburgh and just missed the whole thing.
Yeah, but that's not what happened. I mean, Trubisky, Glennon, and now, I don't know. I guess Trubisky has become Glennon. Is that's what's happened here? Trubisky is Glennon, and Pickett is Trubisky.
Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel.
I mean, I'm just trying to connect the dots here accurately.
But there is some symmetry there. There is like free agent contracts with the idea of potentially finding a diamond in the like. You heard how Ryan Pace discussed Mike Glennon. Again, it doesn't really matter at this point, but they thought they could have. It was a 1-year deal that all of a sudden, if they find something, he didn't play those last several games in Tampa Bay. There's some symmetry here, and it's hilarious to me.
Yeah, there you go. As far as Carm, to answer your question, the biggest loser, I don't know if I'm the Houston Texans, if I feel good about anything. Also because they're the Houston Texans, and it's hard to feel good about anything they're doing right now. But I don't think you get the right guy. I mean, you take Stingley with the 3rd pick, and I think Sauce Gardner was the pick that you should have made. And then I'm not really thrilled with what they did later. I mean, they take the offensive line, and that's great to protect Davis Mills. that's great. Good move there. I don't know if the Texans should feel very good. Also, the fact that Lovie Smith's been in the job for 3 weeks, and he was running picks up apparently in the war room, where he's like, "We got to take this guy." It's like, oh, come on. No direction there whatsoever in Houston. Houston indeed has many, many problems.
That was my one comment tonight that I didn't make when Verderam said it was like, because I'm with I'm with you. Like, okay, you're taking care of up front, that's fine, but like, the Texans just got an offense to protect Davis Mills. I mean, what really? That wouldn't be your number one need right now.
Or Baker Mayfield or Jimmy Garoppolo. If they
sure. Maybe they'll go ahead and do that. That's fine. Anything more for Hill? Verderam, you look for Clint over there.
Jacksonville. I'm just reading. Jacksonville's taking Devin Lloyd, who I mentioned. He will go, the linebacker that we talked to the other day at Utah. He will go to 27th pick. Jacksonville is giving 33, 106, and 180 to Tampa.
All right, I'll take that.
There you go. A 4th, and I believe a 6th, if I'm doing my math right. Maybe it's an early. Yeah, I think it'd be a 6. So we have a 4th and a 6th, and obviously a 2nd. So the Bucks move back. Devin Lloyd off the board, and now we have the Packers, who, if they don't take a receiver, we can all retire, Hill, because the traffic on fanside.com is going to be unbelievable.
Oh, I love it.
Unbelievable. If they don't take a receiver with this pick, if this isn't a George Pickens special, I am going to die of laughter, because Aaron Rodgers right now is sitting there in a dark room watching this draft, and if they don't take a receiver with this pick,
I want the chaos. I need the chaos.
Green Bay, I'm trying to in my mind do some gymnastics that maybe they'll do it, and give the world what they outside of Green Bay what they really want, which is just entertainment of Aaron Rodgers. By the way, Josh Hill has moved locations, and all of a sudden it looks like he's getting like a $5 million pad over there. The place is swanky there, Hill. Sweet background by you. Great lamp. These are the things that I notice.
It's the Royal Sonesta in downtown Minneapolis, because I'm back. I came back to Minnesota for Game 6 tomorrow. Wolves in 7, baby. Let's go. A couple of blocks away from the Target Center. We're going to be there.
You're in a hotel room?
Yeah.
That's adorable. Making time in a hotel room.
Typically, you stay in hotel rooms when you travel somewhere you don't live.
You really went.
I don't know.
Don't you have family up there? Wouldn't they let you stay at their house?
Well, not in Minneapolis, down in Rochester.
Okay. I mean, that would be like my family. They wouldn't let me stay at home, so I'd have to get a hotel. But, I figure like you are a more light guy. Yes, Ben.
With Hill in Minnesota right now, do you think, if we're playing a little bit of NFL draft conspiracy, new Vikings GM, Kwesi Adolfo-Menso, trades out of that number 12 pick, any chance Malik Willis goes to the Vikings?
That's what I was thinking.
32.
Very possible. That's not a crazy.
That would be you trade down to the end of the first round to get the top quarterback in this class. Like,
not a crazy.
I know that the quarterbacks aren't great, but that's a move, and it would make sense for them.
I remember a guy that got picked 32 and did all right, who's tweeting WTF tonight. I mean, if we're looking for quarterback successes at the end of the first round, of course, we don't really need to do that when Tom Brady's the GOAT and he was picked 199. But just for a solid reference point here, this has been a good run tonight. Really good run.
It's been a fun draft. It's been interesting.
I mean, the NFL just feels like we are having a seismic shift in value of receiver / money allocation, and I guess that whatever, there's just no good quarterbacks this year, so that's why there's only been one taken. But it's just it's a massive little difference in the draft. That of course is not a long-term thing, but that's just a this year thing.
Well, I think the reality is when you've got to pay a top tier receiver $30 or $25 million a year, you better draft one and get 4 or 5 good years out of him on the cheap. I mean, I think that's where we're at. I think that's really what we're dealing with. By the way, my buddy down the street, neighbor and friend Joey Mione, who's a Packers fan, says that if they don't draft a receiver here, you're going to hear the F word from 10 houses down. So I believe him. I've watched Packers game with him. This could get really interesting. With all due respect to Joey, I hope just for the chaos, just go ahead and draft Desmond Ridder. Just go ahead and do it, please. Because I'm here. Obviously, that will not happen, but I'm here for the hilarity of it all. It has not gotten out yet, by the way, whether or not who the Packers have taken. So far, Evan Silva tweets out and points out, I was just trying to count it in my head, 9 trades tonight in the first round. 9. But a lot of moves. A lot of moves.
I will say, right before the first trade, who was it? The 11th pick? Is that the first trade? The Saints trading up?
Saints trading up
Packers,
with Washington, yeah.
The Packers are taking defensive tackle.
There it is.
Wyatt.
Yes.
The Packers
I
have taken 2 defensive players. And somewhere in a quiet room, Aaron Rodgers has grabbed the biggest bottle of scotch there is. And he doesn't need a glass, folks.
Probably a very expensive bottle with that new deal too. He'll be all right.
Oh my God, man!
Wow,
it's amazing.
Aaron, we're gonna run the ball, and we're gonna stop them. That's what's going on, Aaron. Come on, 12, get on board.
Devontae Wyatt out of Georgia, who, by the way, was expected to go higher than 28, but boy, I'll tell you, we're about to get a cryptic tweet from Rodgers and an appearance on the McAfee show on Tuesday. The words are going to be said. It's going to be one of those like real cryptic, like, yeah, I don't know, maybe I don't know, maybe I'm just tired of playing football, and it's where we're going to go now. So that's tough. So now we have the Pats on the clock, or not officially, but you get the idea. The Pats on the clock, then the Chiefs, the Bengals, and the Vikings, and we're done with the evening. We'll see if one of those teams trades back and out of the first round. The Pats, I mean, they could certainly use help on the outside for a receiver. They could use a weapon. They could certainly take a corner. I mean, they need to replace J.C. Jackson. They could take a safety. Devin McCourty's not getting any younger. They have Judon at edge. I feel like they're not going to take an edge rusher. They could, I guess. I would think they won't go that route, but we'll see. We'll see. I think the Chiefs, there's going to be a pretty good chance they could either take Karlaftis or Mafe or, you name their edge rusher. I mean, there's going to be guys at this point for them. And Pickens will probably be there unless he goes to New England. For the receiver crowd out there will be Pickens.
Heiss, Hill, any final thoughts? You guys can get on out here. We appreciate you both.
I got money on the Patriots taking a wide receiver with their first pick, so let's go Sky Moore. Let's go George Pickens. It'll put me on the over of 6.5, but Patriots pays out a little bit more, so let's go with that.
Hill,
there you go. Breece Hall in for the Bucks tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Oh, my God, I thought you meant for the Pats. I was like, that would be unbelievable.
That would be a Pats pick. That would be a Pats pick. Him or Isaiah Spiller. One of those two guys going to Belichick. So there you go. But no, tomorrow, that's what's going to happen. Also, Nakobe Dean, when's he going to get picked? That's my question.
That's the rock that's falling right now. All right, Hill, good luck tomorrow. Have fun. Go T-Wolves. Wolves in 7, baby. Let's go. Ben, we'll see you soon, brother. Thanks, Heiss.
All right, guys. Off to Ibiza.
There goes Ben, and our Jacksonville guy is freaking out on Twitter. Jordan Del Lugo, his tweet is, "I'm freaking out, y'all," with the Jags making moves here. And Liam is back with us. What's up, Liam? Back on the clock, baby. Here come the Pats.
Back on the clock, feeling good about it. I don't necessarily agree with you, Matt, that the Patriots are in the market for a wide receiver. I think the Devontae trade pretty much took them out of the running for a first-round receiver. Anything can happen there. But I think for the Pats, it's going to be edge corner. I like Booth from Clemson, and I really like that Dax guy from Michigan. I think those are two really likely picks. I don't see Karlaftis going. I could see him lasting to the Chiefs just because that guy isn't really in Belichick's mold per se. But also, we're the Patriots. It's the 29th overall pick. I've been up all night waiting for this moment, and a trade back is quite likely.
Well, it'd be interesting. We'll see. Yeah, well, they do. They trade back more than any team I can. I would have to. I've never looked this up. He has to have in the last 20 years made more trade backs than any team in the league.
Yeah, I think it was him and Ozzie Newsome were neck and neck for a while.
That makes sense. Yeah, Ozzie always accumulated a million picks.
So Belichick is once again alone in the front there.
Liam. Let's see if you can nail this one. I know you just threw out two, but give me your one play. Who do you got?
I think it's Dax from Michigan. I think that's my pick. He loves the versatile guys you mentioned before I came on, Matt. McCourty's getting old, which he absolutely is, and you could see it last year. I think my sleeper might be Nakobe Dean, just because Belichick loves to dip when others dodge, as it were. And everybody has been talking a lot about how the Belichick mold of linebacker doesn't really exist anymore, right? He likes the big, beefy guys who have a little bit of sideline to sideline, read blocks really well. Those guys aren't coming into college that much anymore because that's not what the college game is about. So Nakobe Dean doesn't seem like a Patriots guy because he's smaller than your average linebacker.
I know who they're picking. Not anybody who we mentioned. It is Cole Strange.
Yo, who is that?
He's your newest player.
Cole Strange is exactly who I thought they were going to take. Cole Strange, one of the all-time greats. It's a little bit strange, but it's cool, and it's Cole. And Cole, he's out of Tennessee Chattanooga.
Please tell me you're joking.
I'm not joking. Cole Strange.
It says here he's a guard.
Okay, so guard center maybe because I saw center, so maybe
Okay.
whoever the hell I was reading, maybe they're bombed. I don't know. Cole Strange, and Liam's face says it all.
Southern Conference coaches notice is playing 11 games at left guard. The following year named him a second team All-League. They repeated that honor for Strange in 2019. 11 starts at left guard, 1 at center. So he's been all over the place here. Guard center. There you go. He's a highly experienced interior lineman. Intelligent and tough. Excellent pad level. Here's his weaknesses, Liam. Lean body type for a guard. Uses wide corralling hands too often. He his hands linger when punching, and he needs an earlier foot slide. So what do you think? There you go.
I think this guy couldn't even make first team all conference when he was playing for Tennessee Chattanooga. I mean, in seriousness, I get it, right? We traded Shaq Mason to the Bucks this offseason. You know, we can bump Michael Onwenu inside, but he hasn't been great there. And we've kind of been cycling through left guards for a little bit. I just, it gets tiring having Bill Belichick take these dudes way before they were supposed to. I think I saw he was maybe a day 2 pick, which, makes sense. Maybe it's not nearly as much of a leap as I am feeling right now. And offensive line depth is great. We need offensive line to protect my guy, Mac Jones. We're relying on our run
Watching
game.
you talk yourself into this in real time is truly a treat.
You should have seen me when Tom Brady didn't thank the Patriots in his retirement announcement.
I bet that hurt deep. All right, so Cole Strange to the Pats. Liam, thank you for coming on and then leaving and then coming on again and then going through the motions with Cole Strange. I appreciate your time stopping by, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, fellas. I'm glad that this was caught on a live broadcast for everybody to enjoy. Just tremendous content for you all.
Always.
All right.
All
fellas.
right.
See you, Liam. You're the man.
Pick 30. The Chiefs are heading on the clock. I don't know if they're officially on yet, but we are. Look, I will tell you right now, I had no issue with them taking McDuffie because I said corner and edge with the picks I thought they needed to make tonight. They took a corner. I'm fine with that. They don't take an edge here. I will absolutely eviscerate them.
I think they should take an edge, but don't sleep on Dax Hill. I wouldn't be surprised if they made that move. I know it's loading up extra on secondary, but I really like I think they could like his speed, and I think they could like him fitting into that Tyrann Mathieu role. And now your secondary set. I don't know how the hell you're going to get to they better be able to cover for a long time, but
You need an edge, man. If they don't have an edge,
I
my
agree,
God,
but-
they're gonna have to be covering for 8 seconds.
I wanted to put it out there because I
I
feel
like
a
Dax,
move.
but my God, man. I mean, if this isn't Karlaftis, kid out of Penn State, who I'll never get his name right, so I'm not going to insult him. Kid out of Penn State, Karlaftis or Mafe, I don't get it. I'll crush them over, and that includes Pickens, by the way. Okay, you need an edge rusher here. You need an edge rusher. So I have no problem with them going McDuffie to start. I really don't. But if they don't take an edge rusher here, I think they're insane.
ESPN lists Hill as the top player available, followed by Dean, Willis, Booth, Hall, Ebikite, and then we're getting down to they have Karlaftis as the 9th best player.
Thank you. It's the name I can never pronounce.
Yeah. Ojabo from Michigan is 7th. Kyler Gordon from Washington 8th, and then Karlaftis at 9. For whatever that's worth. Sky Moore, my guy, is hanging out at the 12th best player left. Sky Moore is going to be a hell of a player out of Western Michigan. A million people have said that, but I'm just going to get myself on that record too.
A lot of people really like him. A lot of people have him higher than some of the favorite wide receivers.
I've seen him play once in a live game, and then his tape is just pretty damn sweet. Mr. Schwam still hanging around. Matt Connor. By the way, Patrick, what happened? You went from jail to yes.
George Karlaftis to the Chiefs.
Hey,
there you go.
You got an edge.
There's your edge.
There
There's your edge. Very good player, Purdue. Very, very productive. A lot of people thought he would go around 15 to 20. He goes 30 to the Chiefs. Look, I don't think you can bitch if you're a Chiefs fan. I really don't. I mean, Karlaftis is a guy who now all of a sudden, look, you walk away with an edge and a corner that you still have a million receivers that are worthy of a second-round pick to go after. I will try to pull up the George Karlaftis stats here as we talk. But Patrick, while I'm doing that, your thoughts on the pick?
Yeah, look, I mean, this is the kind of guy that the Chiefs were going to be able to get in the position that they were drafting it. And so if they didn't like Jermaine Johnson, staying put back here with the 2nd pick at 30 and picking up a guy like Mafe or Karlaftis makes a lot of sense. He was ranked as the 5th best edge rusher on NFL.com. 6'4", 266, 32 arms. Bench press 21 times, 4.36 shuttle. So he's projected to be a starter and a good starter within 1 to 2 years, or within 2 years, according to NFL.com. So look, the Chiefs need something from him now, but maybe he rotates in. They still have Frank Clark in the mix with Chris Jones. So maybe he's going to get work this year. He's certainly going to get work. Yeah.
He's playing one way or the other. Look, I mean, came into Purdue as a freshman, had 7.5 sacks. Then you have the COVID year. They only played 2 games. He had 2 sacks in 2 games. And then last year as a junior, 4.5 sacks with 10 tackles for loss, 39 tackles overall. He's been productive since day one at Purdue. Listen, you could sit there and talk about, well, why does he get to 30? I think whenever you are trying to figure this stuff out, I mean, there's a million reasons, whether it be NFL, just the way the board falls or what have you. But Karlaftis is a guy who's very productive without really much around him defensively. I mean, he was the focus every game at Purdue. It's a good pick for the Chiefs. It's a good pick. I mean, they walk out of the first round, in my opinion, having desperately needed edge and corner. Well, they got both things. I mean, like you said, he's got good size. And just look, I'll go by Chad Reeder, who wrote up a little bio on him. I'm not going to read the whole thing over the NFL.com draft profile, but he's a guy that came in right away and was the defensive player of the year in high school. 17.5 sacks his senior year. Went to Purdue. Was a 2nd-team All Big Ten pick in his freshman year, 2019. I already reeled off his numbers. He was 2nd-team All Conference in 3 games in 2020. And then, he came back last year, 3rd-team All-America, 1st-team All Conference, one of the top defensive ends in the country, Ted Hendricks Award finalist. So, take it for what it's worth. But he's I mean, Zerline, you always point out, does a great job, and he does. He was projected to be a round one guy, and the last sentence of his thing was, look, he's a future starter as a strong side defender in an even or an odd front. So I think if you're the Chiefs, you feel pretty good about it. I mean, I don't look, is it a home run, slam dunk pick? I mean, who the hell is at 30? But I think they got a guy that has a lot of upside. You feel good about that, and you move on. But they filled their two biggest needs.
And I think what's smart, and they kind of told us what they were going to do in free agency when they made not defensive line, not cornerback, but safety and wide receiver a focus for them in free agency. They went and they got Juju Smith-Schuster. So now you're set at the wide receiver position. So you can come into this draft, you can go get the corner you want, you can get the edge rusher that you want. And now they still have these extra picks on day 2 where they can sit back and they can let the board fall to them. If there's a young wide receiver that they like, they can snatch them, or they can take best player available because they've still got holes. They need depth. They need depth at safety. They need more depth on the defensive line, but they're very well positioned now that they've taken care of these needs.
I love the level-headed, satisfied Chiefs fans that I'm seeing right now. Went out, not sexy, very effective, added on to the Super Bowl contending, ready to rock and roll. And Jalen Butler, I'm not the least bit weary, man. Let's go second round tonight. Forget about tomorrow. Let's keep rolling, baby.
That's a long day.
I might be getting a little bit weary. But we're making it. I listened to you guys sum it up, and I got all fired up about Johnson for you. That was a little bit of a weird moment, but then like Patrick came in with the level-headedness and just, hey, this look at, and then Verderame, you brought out the speed factor of the corner, and now you got your guy. You nailed it out front. So that was a nice little Chiefs moment in the show.
By the way, the Bengals are taking Dax Hill, safety out of Michigan.
There you go.
Yeah. So he goes to spot later. He will pair up with Jesse Bates, who's on the franchise tag. So we'll see if they pair up for a year, a lot longer. But listen, the Bengals bring in another safety.
Bengals defense getting stronger. Played well at times last year. That's a good pick for them. I liked him a lot. I wish the Chiefs could have found a way to snag him as well. But there's only so many picks to go around, and I do think they got their two biggest needs.
Appreciate all the kind comments in the chat. I haven't watched the TV all night. I've got them in a corner here, and I've just been following along with Twitter and whatnot. So it's been a good hang with y'all. We're not completely done, but I'm sure you guys are going to be doing something on Arrowhead Addict sooner than later. Do you have any idea when that will be? You want to promote it? Ding ding.
We may get together and do a little reaction tomorrow morning for the pod folks. Maybe just something quick, and then of course, are we coming back tomorrow night? What's the plan?
No, I am not doing 2 rounds worth of live stream coverage.
Oh, come on, Burger. You only have an infant daughter at home.
Yeah, you can go straight to hell.
There will be a DeWindy City Chicago Bears. Maybe they'll be drafting a quarterback with everybody hanging around here. Some competition for Justin Fields. Let's go at 39. They're not going to do that, but I'm actually kind of getting a little curious as to where the Bears will go. But Patrick Schmidt and I will be doing for the couple Bears fans that are here, baby. I know there's more than a couple. We'll be talking tomorrow night after 39, 48, and 71. The Bears looking for 3 starters. So come on in. One pick to go, right? Is that where we're at here? I'm getting.
Yeah, the Vikings.
And while we have a break in the action, we should give a shout out to the crew for tonight.
For sure.
Keep the thing running. Richard, Hunter, Sean, you guys are fantastic. I mean,
Michael Zach crushing over there.
in there as well. Yeah, I mean the whole crew. There's all these people behind the scenes. You don't do a 3-hour and 40-minute show without a little bit of help. And hats off to the two of you. I slide in here and then go back to sitting on my couch. But you guys you've been here the whole time, and it's a long night. So hats off to you for keeping everybody entertained and informed the whole night long.
It's flown by, and it's been a ton of fun.
Yeah, it's been good.
And we appreciate it. So, all right. Well, Who do we think here for the Vikes? I love that Malik Willis call.
I was gonna say, could it be a quarterback? It
He's
could
a
definitely
fifth-year
be.
option. I mean, if you're taking a quarterback and you believe him in the first round, you do it now. If you're the Vikings,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna bet it's not because that's the way the night's gone. But we shall see here. I think the Jets feel great coming out of tonight. I think the Giants feel great coming out of tonight. The Ravens feel great coming out. I mean, everybody's going to feel great.
and the fact they buried their quarterback, it's still they're good. They do a nice job drafting in general, moving around.
Little bit of a weird night for Detroit, but I don't know.
Like a talent-filled night, but yes, weird. I agree.
Yeah. Well, Aaron Schatz, Cole Strange is the overdraftist verse of madness.
Oh, that's very good.
I do appreciate, like, if you like the player, you make the pick, but it's like, dude, and he trades down all the time. So I mean, he follows that. What's up, Patrick Schmidt? Final, you got a insight into the Vikings here, or some thoughts you want to get out before we say goodbye?
Yeah, still waiting for Malik Willis to come off the board. Thought he was going to go second overall. No, I'm just kidding. Second overall in the second round is what Carm was saying.
I didn't. No, hold on. I didn't say that I thought he would. I said I thought he should. When that dude is great, you all remember that Carm told you Malik Damn Willis.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, I'm never going to forget the Malik Willis love. I mean, we don't need to worry about that. But yeah, I heard you guys talking about teams that are probably feeling pretty good tonight. How about the Jets, the Jets? I mean,
yes,
3 great picks. I mean, they had a lot of picks. They had to do something with it. So I thought they did a lot. The Giants, both New York teams, did well. The Ravens, they did well. I kind of like the Lions. We'll see with the trade up to get Jameson Williams, but he's a stud. There's so many different guys you could make the case for being wide receiver 1 this year. So many different types, so many different flavors. It all depends on, which one you really like best for your offense. So we had a lot of great wide receivers, and they got one of them. They're still looking for their quarterback of the future, maybe to get that next year with Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. But yeah, we were talking about a few teams that had multiple first-round picks coming into the draft. And I think a lot of those teams, they did their homework, and they're going to be feeling pretty good about it right now. But yeah, some great offensive linemen, some great wide receivers, a couple of good cornerbacks. I love the Chiefs getting George Karlaftis. I talked about it when we were in the middle of the draft, and we're looking about which wide receivers might be there, which defensive ends might be there. I think George Karlaftis is going to fit in really well for that defense. Played really well for Purdue on a team where he wasn't surrounded by much talent, and now he's going to be surrounded by a ton of talent. So it's going to be great to see how he mixes in with that defense next to Chris Jones. But he should be really great. His first 3 steps off the line, his acceleration and his explosion, just going to be a nice welcome addition. And I think he's a guy where his best football is ahead of him, which, I mean, yeah, we're going to say that about a lot of these guys because they're 22, 23, 24, but just such an ascending player and such an ascending talent that fills a huge weakness and huge need for the Chiefs.
Yeah, listen, I mean, I feel pretty good about Karlaftis and McDuffie for a team that desperately needed an infusion defensively. I don't know what your thoughts are on McDuffie, but by the way, on the side real quick, the Vikings, they wrap up the first round. They took Lewis Cine, I believe is how you pronounce it, from Georgia, safety.
That's the 5th defender from Georgia. And shockingly, Nakobe Dean is not one of them.
Yeah.
Arguably, I mean, Jordan Davis was their best player last year, but Nakobe Dean was right there, man. And I know he's got some, teams are concerned about his injuries and all that kind of stuff, the medical rechecks. But, man, that dude, he's going to come off the board early, I would think, of the second round. Obviously, I'm not privy to his MRI results and x-rays and this and that and the other, but he is a baller. But, yeah, 5 Georgia defenders going in the first round. That's huge. The record for most draft picks in a first round is Alabama and Miami, that 04 Miami class and the 21 Alabama class just said last year. So Georgia almost ties it with just defenders alone. And, maybe George Pickens can slide in here and tie that record with 6. But McDuffie, wasn't in that Derek Stingley or Sauce Gardner elite mode, but safe technician. Washington just churns out cornerbacks year in and year out. Like, they've all been good. They all haven't panned out necessarily in the NFL, but that's a program where if you're going to draft cornerbacks, like, you think you're getting a pretty good one. And I think he's a really safe pick. So probably 2 good starters that the Chiefs got to that defense. And, you got to rush the passer and you got to stop the pass in the NFL. You're in a division with Devontae Adams now and Justin Herbert and Russell Wilson and Joe Burrow's in the conference if you want to get to the Super Bowl. So you got to stop the pass and you got to get to the quarterback. So I love the philosophy and the mindset there by the Chiefs and Brett Veach.
If there's one more guy they want to get, like if there's somebody they really like at the beginning of that second round that's still on the board, they've got the ammo in the second round to move up and get somebody.
No doubt.
Still have 2 twos, a third, a fourth. They got plenty of ammunition. Yeah,
and you got to love the flexibility that having this many picks allows you to do. You can move up, you can move down, you can, quote unquote, overpay and give up a couple extra mid-round picks to get your guy that you feel, strongly about. So, that's what happens when you get 19 picks for Tyreek Hill. So we'll see. I would expect we've already seen a lot of trades so far. And, it seems like once we, close the books on tonight, we're going to see a lot of trades, tonight and all day tomorrow before the draft kicks off again at like 6:00. So it should be fun. Still a lot of good players on the board. Nakobe Dean being one of them. Christian Watson, a wide receiver that fingers crossed he could drop to the Bears at 38 or 39, I should say. So we'll see. We'll see what's in store for the Bears.
Schmitty, thanks to you. To Windy City, 5:00 on Mondays. Also, thanks to, I doubt they're watching, but just shouts outs to Jordan Del Lugo from Generation Jaguar, Adam Weinrib, Yanks Go Yard, and Sports Fire Pod, Reed Wallach, Ian McMillan, Donovan Smoot, all from Bet-Sided, Tommy Jaggy from the Steel Curtain, Patrick to you and Arrowhead Addict, Ben Heisler from Bet-Sided, Liam from the Big Lead, and Josh Hill, our guy, all popping on tonight. It's been a cast of characters, so it's been a lot of fun. Most importantly, thank you to everyone who watched tonight. Hit us up in the chat. It makes it so much more fun to see the reaction. So thank you to one and all on there. We loved everything that was said tonight, including our guy, is he still around, Mr. Schwump, who comes at us with the fire. I'm shouting you out, buddy.
Guy in the chat.
I know he loves us. Hey, Patrick, thanks for being here. You too, Patrick. Both Patricks, thank you very much. Verderam, good to be with you. Any final thoughts? Anybody got anything left?
I have nothing left. I have to now go edit a bunch of stuff.
It's all over. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on all the channels. And, hey, the first round is in the book 2022. Coverage all weekend. We'll see us tomorrow on DeWindy, Arrowhead Addict, all that. Have a great rest of your night.
See you guys.